Excellent.
Ugh, terrible.
Well, this is already fun. We're swapping back over, and we are going to say hello. We're going to play Call of Cthulhu 7th Edition. This is the other group that is playing some of the prologue adventures before we get to Masks of Nyarlatahotep. This is a fun adventure, none of which the players know. This is Edge of Darkness, coming from the current starter box or the rulebook in the 6th edition. And it is it's very good. Most people, and I've tweaked a lot of things in it to fit in the game. Most people recommend The Haunting as like have you played The Haunting, Ethan?
I've not.
You have not? Okay, because so The Haunting is typically known as like the starter Call of
Oh yeah.
Cthulhu thing. It's like I've run it like 20 times for many people. I'm bored of it and I think it's too tropey, and I actually really like this, and some people think it's better as an introduction. Um so I'd like to just hop in and we'll introduce characters as we go.
Cool.
But
Sure.
I asked you guys to come up with how you are connected to a man named Rupert Merriweather because
I thought
he's currently dying.
I thought we all agreed that it was an ice hockey team, with ours being silent and John suggesting the only idea.
I came up with mine. We were told not to necessarily post it.
So
I thought we were supposed to speak openly.
we're going to start with everybody essentially getting to the hospital where their friend Rupert Merriweather is dying. And as your character is like coming into the hospital, I'd like you to tell me your connection with them. Rupert is, remember, a fairly old person at this point, and he is in the hospital in Arkham, Massachusetts. Max, did you have a connection to Rupert?
I do have a connection to Rupert.
What is your connection to Rupert?
Well, Wentworth, as you can tell by his dashing picture, has clearly spent many years being a professional butler.
Mm.
This man, at one point in time, employed me. Perhaps it wasn't recently, perhaps it was. I don't know exactly what situation he's in, but I have served under him as an employee at his estate at one point in time.
So you're familiar with his family.
I am.
You know that he has a wife and his son. His son's name is Bertrand, and Bertrand is he's entitled. He comes from old money and thinks that, you know, he's the one who pulled himself up by the bootstraps, and he's just been kind of a snot his entire life. Whereas his wife, I forget her name. I'll find it in a second, but she's a loving and supportive wife, but terribly concerned with this affliction. You've not been working with Rupert for some time, but you've kept in contact. Ethan,
Of course.
Ethan, did you have a connection to Rupert?
Yeah, I think so. Nevada Jones, you know,
Nevada Jones.
archaeology professor somewhere, most of the time, or very little of the time, depending on the depiction. I think Nevada Jones has had kind of like an off and on working relationship with Rupert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would come and tell him that, you know, some artifact that he had found out about needed to be in a museum. Perhaps Rupert would disagree, perhaps he would agree. And this has probably happened a few times over the course of Nevada's career, at least.
Over like specific artifacts?
Yeah, just because Rupert seemed like the man who would probably frequently come into contact with things like this.
And he has messaged you specifically because he has an artifact that he wants to give you.
Perfect.
It's one that you've known about for some time, and you're like, that belongs in a museum, Rupert. And he's like, no, it's my personal collection.
Only museums.
Alan, you're playing Lois Russo. What connection do you have to Rupert Merriweather?
My connection with that person that I literally just forgot the name of that you said. Lewis actually is going to school in Arkham where he teaches. Lewis promised her father that she would go into engineering, but her secret passion was just learning a jack of all trade, and she just kind of fell in love with his classes. So she would just sneak into them very poorly.
What classes
And
did he
just
teach?
um Egypt, ancient
Egyptology?
Egyptian. Yeah, Egyptology. Thank you.
That's perfect. That works out very nicely.
Yeah,
Good job.
thank you.
And John, who's playing Keiko, what is your connection to Rupert Merriweather?
Sure. So, I knew him at college as well. I didn't have Egyptology with him, and I didn't necessarily have a class with him. But he was constantly. I'd overhear him teaching with other professors talking about the spooky things and those weird things that could easily be explained by science. And we'd talk occasionally. And when we weren't discussing that, we occasionally talked about sports, which was hockey.
He was a hockey fan?
He was.
Or did he hate hockey?
The man is not dead yet.
He liked hockey. That's how we were actually friends. Or else, luckily, we were both Penguin fans, which is the local team, so that was nice.
The Arkham Penguins?
Yes.
That's lovely. Cool. So, you guys go to the Arkham Hospital. You know that he's being kept there because you have recently received a letter. And for whatever reason or another, he says that he needs your help. And when you get there, you see walking into like the reception area. The receptionist sees the lot of you and realizes, oh, this is for Rupert because he's been here for a while. But she looks like really sad. She looks a little afraid to confront you as a group. But she does and goes, "Hello, are you all here to see Rupert?"
Yes.
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 Of course, madam.
The he is not doing well, so I'm very happy. It is good that you have come at this time here. Please follow me. Now, as you as she takes you down the hallway, and it's that smell of a hospital, you know, that smell that's everything is too clean, that kind of smell. As you're going down the hallway,
It's a nice smell.
she leads you to Rupert's door. And she knocks a couple times and enters. And inside, you see 4 people. One of them, who is presumably Rupert, and Wentworth absolutely knows because he is lying there in the hospital bed, and he looks much older than he actually is, and he is not young. He looks like his veins are somehow starting to shrivel, and his skin is starting to get saggy, and he's laying in his hospital bed. Next to him is a dapper-looking black man, and on the other side of the room are who you recognize as Agnes, his wife, and Bertrand, his son. And Rupert is talking in low tones with this black man with next to the side of his bed. What are we doing? Are we going to wait respectfully, or?
I'm gonna go to the nurse and ask her if they've been doing everything possible to keep him alive or save him.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, you're like right there, and as she opens the door, sees it, kind of steps out and realizes, okay, well, wait a minute, so like traffic can flow. And you ask that, and she goes, it's something that we've never seen before, and we're not really sure what it is or how to deal with it.
On that note, I'll pipe in and just be like, what tests have been done so far?
Blood work, x-rays.
This is a hospital. Why aren't you helping him?
Science needs time, I get that, but what has been done? It sounds like we could do more.
There comes a point where what we can do is keep him comfy.
Lois stares.
Sounds good to me. I don't know anything about medicine.
We could get him a TV to watch the hockey game.
This is like the 20s.
If we have to go to the
They
cinemas.
might have they may have the big TVs on like a cart.
Let's just blow out this wall to bring this TV.
I think they'd be lucky to have like a radio.
Yeah, okay, fine, a radio. You're right.
Yeah, we could
You're
listen to that.
I got my 20s backwards. It's the 2020s. What do you want from me?
So, you notice that the conversation between Rupert and this man is coming to a close, and the man hands Rupert a few papers. He reads them, nods solemnly, and then they say their goodbyes, and the man has to walk by you to exit.
I'm gonna give him a once over.
Sure.
Kind of look him up and down, see if I can get a vibe.
Sure. You can roll psychology.
Cool. I don't. Oh, I have some of that. That's okay.
Everybody's got a little bit of something. Yep.
Mhm.
Give me the green
We
one.
all can fail in our own unique ways.
Ooh.
Oh, an extreme success. Oh, that's the thing that I'm going to ask you guys to do is that when we announce whether we succeed or fail, or when you roll, please let me know if you succeed or fail and by what degree. An extreme success in psychology. You realize that this man is obviously good-natured, and you can tell just by like the way he talks and his clothes. You didn't really catch too much of the conversation, but the way he interacts with people is that he's definitely traveled the world. So he's traveled all across the world, and he's good-natured, and it's not that he's like an important person, but he definitely carries himself like it's his room now. Like he understands that people are aware that he has entered.
I'll just tip my fedora, but like the Indiana Jones kind, not the.
Yeah.
Not the.
Isn't that a trilby? No, that's not a trilby.
Indiana Jones's was a fedora. The one you typically think of is a trilby.
Luz is gonna go to Rusho's bed and pull out her cross and just say a small prayer.
Perfect.
While this is happening.
The wife, Agnes, and Bertrand, the son, are kind of glaring at you guys as you're coming in. And as you tip your hat to this man, he like stops and looks at you and extends a hand. Do you shake his hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm glad that you're a friend of Rupert, and I hope you're doing well. Thank you. And then,
sure.
Yeah, he's gonna leave. Okay, so, yeah. You were gonna say
I was
something?
gonna ask. Yeah. So I know that the hospital smelled sterilely clean.
Yeah.
What does this room smell like?
This room smells like if this room smells like rotting blood. Just like strange liquids have been here,
Coppery.
and then lots of rot. It smells like infection.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious. As Lois gets close to his bedside, you can see that some of his blankets and sheets are wet, and it's not necessarily from sweat.
Are there any windows?
Sure.
Can I try to open a window? Maybe
Yeah.
let some fresh air in.
Sure, you can. You do
Sure.
so. The wife comes over and helps you, and looks at you. She's like, "I was thinking the same thing."
Bad here.
He doesn't like it when the windows are open, so we'll have to
Now
close
he
them
liked
soon.
it chilly, like on an ice rink.
Bertrand is staring down his nose at everybody, and Rupert at this point realizes that you're all coming in, filing in, and the man is leaving. And yeah, he looks at you and goes, "Oh, perfect. Hello, thank you all for coming. I need to speak with you, and unlike the last one, this is a private concern." And he just kind of like looks at his family, and the wife sighs and closes her eyes, and the son goes, "No, anything you say can be said here with the family. We need to know what's going on." And he just kind of gives his son a tired look, and the mom grabs him by like the forearm and starts walking towards the door as he's protesting. Does anybody want to do anything?
Real quick question: did she open her eyes before grabbing her son and walking
Yep.
out? Okay.
So, like, are you sure? I mean, it can't be that bad. I mean, you're bad, but the conversation can't be that bad. I'm sure they could be here.
You say you're bad, and like he tries to give a smile, but it it starts to pain him.
Now, I'm sure Bertrand has plenty of things to look at on the ceiling outside the room as he does inside the room, so we can just give him some time in the hallway. It's fine.
It does smell better out there.
And then, like, as he turns, like, he's watching his family go out the door. He turns and brings his attention to the windows, and you can tell that he gets, like, visibly shaken by open windows. And he asks,
Bertrand does?
no, the Rupert does.
Oh, Rupert. Okay.
And he asks, "Can we please shut the windows? Shut the windows."
I will
Can we
do
leave it
so at
open a little
once,
bit?
sir.
Wentworth walks over and he shuts the windows.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm concerned. You all haven't seen or heard from me in quite some time because I need to tell you something because, well, I may have done something awful and I cannot fix it, and I need you to set it right.
What did you do? Kill a man?
And then he just kind of stares at you.
Does he stare at us in response to the comment about killing a man?
Yes.
Or
Okay.
Like, did you what is it, Rupert? Did you kill a man? And he gives you just a
I see.
whatever
Things
it is,
happen.
I will do everything in my power to aid you.
When I was a student, long before I had met any of you, I had become very interested in the occult and things that are strange. I know that Keiko doesn't agree, but this is my chance to show her the things that I have seen.
You may.
had a friend who was older than me at the time. Fun fact, this is Call of Cthulhu. Feel free to take notes. I had a friend named Marion Allen, and we and a few other friends had created we were friends. We called ourselves something silly. We called ourselves the Dark Brotherhood. And then, like, he starts to laugh, and then he can't, like, he starts to laugh, and he like
starts hacking.
Jerks at it because it hurts, and he starts hacking, and he grabs the sheet and, like, wipes his mouth. We called ourselves the Dark Brotherhood. It's silly nonsense, but there was something there because Marion knew things, and so what we did was we wanted to hold, we called them experiments, but seances and things trying to talk to the other side. And we needed privacy. So Marion and the rest of us, we pooled our money together and we bought a small house not far from Arkham. And we would go there and we would conduct our silly little experiments. I think some of them came because we were upperclassmen. We were popular and they wanted to be friends with us. But Marion absolutely believed in what he was doing, and I, the worst thing that could possibly have happened, which was we were successful. And we summoned something, and it lives in the house. And I think that it is confined to that house for as long as the people who summoned it are alive. And as you can see, that will not be long for me, and I'm the last one.
So everyone in the Dark Brotherhood is dead.
Yes.
How did the others die?
Marion died in New Orleans many years ago. Another died during the ritual. I think
Died in the ritual, you say?
Was it part of the ritual?
No.
Were the police called? Was there anything that was done?
Oh. The police were notified and they were given a satisfactory answer. Do you think that they would listen to any of us for what we did? The police were satisfied. We told them a story. I don't remember it anymore, but they were there. We couldn't
When did this happen?
Oh.
He said long ago when he was Still
What?
in school.
Yeah, must have
So
been
you're 70.
40, 50 years ago now.
So the 80s? That was a wild time.
Mhm.
The 17.
The
Sorry, I don't
the
know.
1880s, Lois.
Sorry. Dates confuse me sometimes.
What year of our Lord is it?
I feel like Wentworth is that kind of dude who's like, yes, in the year 1883, Anno Domini.
You aren't wrong.
So,
Do you still have the book that you used for the ritual, or anything left from when you were younger?
I have some materials, and I think some of the things are still there. The taxes have been paid on the house. The house is still in our name. I was part of the purchasing, so the house has been left abandoned. I couldn't never take myself back there, but as I'm the last one alive, I need someone else to fix this for me, because I'm sorry, I was too much of a coward to fix it, and some of the materials are still there, but some of the materials I have here. And he points to the table where there is a small box. Not small, I want to say it's about, like,
Person size?
loaf of bread sized box. In there is an artifact that Nevada had been wanting for some time, and I think that it will cause him more trouble than he ever anticipated.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Starts hacking and pains.
It'd be at least the second time, I think.
So how did this person die?
Which person?
Meredith?
No, the guy whose name I need to know who died in the house during the ritual.
Ah,
If he knows it still.
It's one of us was committed to an asylum because he had gone completely insane and never recovered, and some of the memories are blocked from me. I'm sure I wrote them down in my diary. My diary.
Ooh, is your diary here?
I'm assuming your diary's in the bandit house.
Can I walk over? I will attempt to walk over to the box.
Sure, you go over to the box. As you're approaching the box, it has a black sheen to it, and as you're approaching it, your eyes can't look away from it, and it seems to draw you in, and you find yourself going closer, and it is something terrible.
Ooh, shiny. Jaws me in something terrible. Is there any type of roll or anything I need to make against it?
No, just
Okay.
there's the box. It's sitting on the table.
Is it in the box? Is the diary in the box?
That's what he said. Yeah, it's in the box.
I would like to try to get the diary.
Sure. Can you roll power?
Sure, where would that?
It's
So
one of
one
your
of the big
basic
ones?
stats. Yep.
And green one's the bottom one, right?
Yeah.
Failed.
Ooh.
Failed. Ooh, that is not good. As you
Starting off right.
Rupert is saying something. He's still talking about, like, how someone had died in the ritual, someone had gone insane, he can't remember, but he needs you to set it right, blah blah blah. He's kind of starting to repeat himself. And as you reach for the box, you can tell that the box wants you to grab it. And you think for just a moment, oh, that's strange. Like, this inanimate object is somehow compelling me. And normally you'd be like, whoa, stop, that's strange. But not you. No. You're like, oh, this is science. And you reach for the box, and as soon as you grab it, Rupert begins writhing in his bed, clutching his chest.
I'm gonna hold the box and then look at him. Like, are you okay, Rupert?
Yeah, Nevada's gonna run for a nurse.
While
Nevada,
still holding the box, I emphasize.
sure. So you're like clutching the box, and Nevada runs out and is like, nurse, and he starts like screaming at a volume that you have not heard him today yet, and you can see that he's sweating, and his sweat is an incorrect color as he's writhing. You hear footsteps running down the hallway, and they just start rushing into the room. They look at him, and they're like, everybody out, everybody out, everybody out, everybody out now.
What does the box feel like while this is happening?
Heavy?
Does it throb or anything?
No, it feels cold.
Lois leaves the room as ordered.
As a player, I know I shouldn't take it with me,
No,
but I'm gonna take it with me.
Sure.
Box goes with me.
And
I'd like to try to still be getting the diary,
okay.
if possible. Yeah.
And what's Wentworth doing?
I will be leaving the room.
Perfect. Everybody is rushed out of the room where they find Agnes and Bertrand, and we all just you hear the commotion in the hospital room as several of you are in the hallway, and Agnes is trying to get around you, looking in the door, and they shut the door on her. And Bertrand is going, "What did you do, and what is happening?"
This hasn't happened before?
Die? No, he hasn't done that before.
He's not dying. Is he? Because he's still...
He certainly wasn't doing well.
Yeah, that doesn't mean dying.
How long has he been with the wife?
For the entirety of his marriage, so
How long have they been married?
One would hope.
ever since he was 30 after college, 1890s, 30
So
years.
30 years? Maybe not 40?
Sure.
Well, I'll ask her then. Were you with him or knew him during the time of this ownership of the old house on the hill?
Huh. Roll psychology for me.
Sure, where would that be?
Under P.
Kid,
No.
kid.
I already did that. Green, right? Yeah. Fail.
Nice.
Oh, that's a rough fail too. Fun fact, in
It
this
doesn't
game,
say rough fail for me.
98 to 100 are considered critical failures. In this game, they're called fumbles. So,
Okay.
she's trying to look in the door. There's not a window attached to it, but she's trying to make the effort of pushing through the door, but a nurse on the other side is stopping her. But they're not really fighting. It's just the effort of my husband's in there and he's dying. And as you're asking her this, she turns and looks at you what is wrong with you?
Science.
This is no time for science. If that's the way you insist
Science
on acting,
waits for no
perhaps
one.
it's best you wait outside.
Let's take a walk, kid.
Before
And
we do
Nevada's
that...
gonna try to usher down the hall a little bit.
Take it the box. I need.
No one's
To
doing
Keiko?
anything in the box.
Oh, you want to see the artifact?
Yeah, I'd love to. Let's take a walk.
Yeah.
All right, so
Just a good
I'm playing her as a one-track
down
mind.
the hallway.
great. So
So
Nevada
as-
and Keiko are walking down the hallway. Lois and Wentworth are still here.
No, I'm gonna follow them down the hallway.
Okay, Wentworth, what are you doing?
I'm going to remain. I have served this family for many years. I can continue to serve them for at least now.
At least we split the party in the hospital. So there's-
Bertrand looks at you and says, "What did he say to you? He also wouldn't let us talk to that other guy that came. What did he say to you?"
He
What is
told
the-
us
oh.
old stories of his past and wished for us to receive something. A final gift.
So you say that, and then Bertrand looks to his mom, who's got her forehead, her head just on the door, struggling against the door handle. He's like, "You see that? He's giving away things not even in the will. Where's the executor? Where's Gray?" And then the mom looks at Bertrand and just slaps him across the face.
I will make a note.
You were going to talk about your father like that? He's on the other side and he is dying. And Bertrand, who is now cowed and defeated, huffs away. You guys, the rest of you who left, you have reached the guest room or the reception area, wherever you're trying to get.
Is there a
Just
table?
not nearby.
Yeah,
A
just
bench
not
and a
nearby.
Table?
Sure, you find a bench and a table. It's a hospital.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm gonna set the box down on the table for just a moment.
Mhm.
So we have two planes of steps we can take. The way my father used to say is, we just burn it to the ground and forget about it, or we can go to his office and look for more things about this.
We
We
have his
haven't even
diary.
looked at the things in the box yet.
Yeah,
So,
but
I
we can
mean-
do this before or after.
We
Let's
must
just
read
look
the
at the-
diary. I
We
need to
gotta
know
look at
this
the
dead
things in
man's
the
name.
box.
What's in the box? Let's just open it then.
Hey, Max Wentworth, can you roll a persuade based on what you said earlier?
Sure, and green, correct?
Yes, please.
Mm.
Purple does not exist.
Success.
Hey,
Excellent.
Our first success.
no, we
No,
had
second
other ones.
success.
Once Bertrand walks away, the wife looks at you and says, "The last man who came by gave him something, and I don't want it, and I don't want Bertrand to have it. They were just papers, and I don't know what they are. But I'm going to go see my husband, and I don't know what he asked you, but I hope they help." And then you wait. A few moments later, the nurse opens the door and just looks at the wife. And then there's an understanding that Rupert just died. And they walk in, and the nurse and the doctor leave. And Rupert, who's now lying on the bed, does not look peaceful. Is grimacing and baring his teeth in death. He did not go softly. She, sits at the bedside, and you had not noticed, but the papers that the man who was here earlier, that had handed him, Rupert still had those in his hand. And she takes the crumpled pieces, and without looking at them, hands them to you and says, "Get this away from me. I want none of this."
Of course, madam.
So you so the rest of you are at the bench and table, and you find that Bertrand is a few moments behind you, but coming towards you, and the box is on the table.
Does the box feel... Did the box temperature change at all between me walking there here and now and him dying?
No.
Okay.
So Bertrand approaches you, and you're all just kind of standing there, and he just points at it, and he's like, "What's in the box? I want it."
We don't know.
No, it's ours.
We found it? No.
That's my father's.
And he gave it to us.
He gave it to us.
Are you sure? I wasn't there. Nobody was there but you. That's my dad's.
Yeah.
He's dead. I want it. I inherit it.
Unfortunately, we have 5 witnesses to you.
One of them's gone.
Yeah, whatever's in here, it's going in a museum, kid. I don't know about your inheritance.
And I
Okay.
have to prove him wrong once more. Obviously.
Your father gave us one last task to take care of something. This is part of it.
Yeah, you don't seem the type for chores, kid.
No, that's what butlers are for. Wentworth
Yes.
is great for that.
Wentworth
Yes.
is a great man.
And Wentworth is on the task as well.
Oh, more cleaning?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Wentworth, at what point you can enter this scene, because this is kind of happening while you were with the wife, with Agnes.
Yeah, I would obviously leave her be
yeah.
after that. So
and
I
leave,
will
shut the
enter.
door.
Yes.
A few moments later, with this
Can I
conversation
make
going
an
on, Wentworth
observation
comes in.
before I leave?
Yeah, you want to what are you
Is
looking
the
for?
window closed still?
Yes,
Okay.
Good question. Good question.
the window is definitely closed still, the way that you guys
Okay.
left it.
Mhm.
And then this little bit no, whatever's in here is going in a museum, kid. All that's going on, and then Wentworth comes down the hallway and meets back up with you guys. Sometime around the time Bertrand says something like, "Yeah, Wentworth is good for cleaning up messes."
My dear fellows, I believe it's time for us to be departing from this area.
I haven't even opened the box yet. But you
It's
are
not
ready.
going anywhere.
You know it's
Well,
all
what's
about
the
the
rush?
suspense.
It's not going anywhere except to the museum.
Well, what's in the box? I don't care about the box.
Right.
Speaking of the box, aside from a black sheen, Does it have anything else on it?
It has a hinge. Nobody's opened it. It's yeah, no, it's a black sheen that it's made of wood. The black sheen is not.
It has any etchings or anything?
Mm-mm. It is a remarkably plain box.
Except for it's eerily cold.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put my ear to the box?
I don't know. Can you?
Yes. Can I listen intently to see if any noise is coming from the box?
It not that you can tell.
Okay.
Look, guys, can we fondle
I
the
give
box?
you a very
not in the
weird
hospital?
look.
I give the weirder look to Wetworth.
We can fondle the box in the car. Let's go.
I'm going
Wait, we
to.
have a car?
Maybe, I don't know.
One of you
Yeah,
has
we
a
have a
car, I
car.
think.
Okay.
If not, one of you can have a car.
Not me.
Ride
Wentworth.
my hockey stick.
Wentworth can have a car. That makes sense. He's a chauffeur.
Sure.
Of course.
Does- Wentworth,
What would
what
we
is
do
your
without you,
drive?
Wentworth?
Wetworth. Oh yeah, who has the best drive? Actually, that's really important.
Well, so that actually brings up a good point about how skills work in this game, where a lot of times you can just kind of do stuff. If you have a base, if you still only have the base 20% chance to drive auto, that doesn't prevent you from just driving. It means that under stressful conditions, you would have to roll. So, somebody has a car, and Bertrand is just kind of like screaming at you as you're walking down the hallway, and is like, "You will hear from my lawyer about this."
About what? I don't know what you're talking about.
And we exit.
Hmm. To the car.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
A less public place, perhaps.
So the car.
Yeah.
In theory, could fit 20, but very uncomfortable 20.
Okay. We're at the car.
I want to look in the box. I want to
It-
see this
I
artifact.
call backseat so I can look in the box.
Wait, can we just open the box before we get into the car?
I'm trying to avoid the spoiled brat, so if we're in the car, maybe he won't follow us that far. Maybe his attention span will blink and he'll forget that we were there.
I thought he was already stormed off mad with us.
So we get to the car. Where are we headed?
We
I
don't
would
even
like-
know where this house is.
I would like to go to his office at the college. of
My
Arkham.
dear fellows, did any of you recognize that man who was in there when we arrived?
Can't say I did.
Not now top of my head.
I will allow a. If anybody can get a hard intelligence roll, I'll allow that as a no roll. Like, you just know this person.
Do.
How about
Green?
is he a particularly knowledged person? Because I may have came across him in my education.
Nope. Hard
How-
intelligence.
Would that be a purple roll
Oh.
or?
No, just roll green, and then you're looking for the middle number. Hard is the middle number.
Hey. You got
So
any-
all of you
What about
succeed.
extreme?
Right, exactly. So your base number is a normal success. Half of your skill is called a hard success. That's graduated successes. 1/5 of your chance is an extreme success, which is essentially a critical success. And Max Wentworth, no, Nevada Jones got an extreme success, and it makes sense that Nevada would know this because you guys recognize him as,
I don't.
well, Nevada would then tell you. You guys have seen this. It is it is semi-common knowledge in that once you're told about it, you remember it, but you couldn't quite place it. You know, on the back of books, how they have like author photographs. You
Mhm.
recognize that was an author, and his name is Jackson Alliance.
Hey. I know that name, but I don't remember why.
Mm.
I see. He left some papers behind with Rupert when he left. Rupert was holding them when he died, and I now have them with me.
Have
They
you had a
may be
chance to read
very
them?
important to what we are looking into.
Have you had a
Let's
chance
just
to read
take
them?
stock of what we have.
A
I have not
box?
We're
read them
moving
yet.
forward.
We have a
Sure.
box, a car, and paper.
All right, so we're taking the car.
Read the
And we can-
papers, look at everything in the box. Let's just get it out of the way.
All right.
Do it.
I just opened the box. We sat down. I'm like, let's do it.
And then as we're driving the car, we open the box. Inside the box is a small envelope, a very thin journal, and let's see here, a sarcophagus-shaped gold box with ancient carvings on it, which is the you recognize this as obviously Egyptian, Lois, and you recognize this as the artifact that you had always been wanting from him, but you never got.
Don't open that.
Oh, I was gonna say we
Opens
should
it.
open it.
So inside the box
Bad,
is another box.
If you open, bad things can happen when you just go opening stuff willy nilly.
Is the envelope sealed with like a wax
Mm-hmm.
thing?
Mm-hmm.
What's the seal on the wax? Does it have like a signet or anything?
Not really. It's just like a local
How
notary.
aged does it look?
Not old. It looks relatively recent.
Okay, so it doesn't look like it came round the time of the sarcophagus thing.
No. It's not ancient.
Okay.
It's just a letter in an envelope.
So I'll hand
Okay.
Nevada the sarcophagi.
Yeah. It's like
And
smaller, obviously smaller than the box that it came from, but it's like a sizable. It's kind of like forearm sized.
rolls power to hand him. No. Yeah, no, I'll try to hand him the sarcophagus
Sure.
and the
What would I-
envelope, because I assume Wentworth is driving,
I would-
and then the envelope to Lois. And I want to read the journal. That's all I want to read.
So if you look at the journal, you can tell that it's been filled out quite a bit. So it's gonna take you some time to read it, but you can totally do that.
I'm just gonna skim for relatively to date wise to
Sure.
when the thing may have happened in the
Sure.
house.
Super cursory look. This happened in the 1870s.
1870s. Okay.
And the letter. It's just an envelope, really. If you open it up, you find
yeah.
2 documents and a key. One of the documents is a deed to the house in Arkham. Presumably, this key is to that house as well.
And what's the other one?
It is a letter from Rupert Merriweather.
I shall read it aloud.
Yes, you shall. Anyone can read this aloud.
Oh wait, is it in the documents now? Oh, it is.
I like Wentworth's voice. Can we hear it in Wentworth's voice?
As he's reading.
He's driving.
Look, I was texting and driving before it was cool.
Writing
what made
letters
it
and
cool.
driving.
Wentworth, would you like to take over?
So real quick, before we read that, I just want to have the people who just came in, I want to let them know, if you guys go ahead and retweet the going live thing, I'm going to put in my socials now. If you guys retweet that and we get an arbitrary number of retweets, let's say 5, then that will prompt me to do a sanity roll for one of these madness roll for one of these guys later. So go ahead and keep that in mind. All right, go ahead.
It could be me right now while I'm driving and reading.
Oh, it could be. Go ahead and give us what do we got?
Dear friends, in the years after the nightmarish events of that night in my youth, I have seen many strange things. Only now do I begin to grasp the truth of reality and the scope of what is happening in the world. I've tried, in my small way, to combat the horrors and make amends for my part in bringing one to our plane of existence. What I have left to offer, what riches and wealth I have, I will put to good use in dealing with these abominations. It is the very least this old coward couldn't do. I could never make myself go back to that little farmhouse and put those events to rights. I too gravely feared that which my friends and I loosed upon this countryside. Nothing of consequence has yet taken place, but with my death I fear the bonds will be broken and that horror freed to come and go as it pleases. Lives not yet taken already weigh heavily on my conscience. The method of delivering the thing out of this world is still in that accursed house. The translations made by Marion from the book De Vermis Mysteriis. I was never strong enough to take on the task, but I have hope that you are. In ridding the world of this, perhaps you will save my soul from hell. For I fear that my deeds have not been enough to release me from this heavy burden. I do not expect your forgiveness for what I ask of you. Signed, Rupert Merriweather.
Real quick aside, I don't think the retweets are being tracked correct. Oh, I just saw it. Okay, never mind.
So have I, in my education and refuting with this man, have I ever heard of this Deva Mi Mysteries?
No.
So real talk, sorry, that's not in game. What does he mean by all of this? Because I thought he was just talking about like a weird like hallucination.
Obviously, it was a hallucination. There's nothing scientific behind
Does
this.
that ping anything archaeologically? The name of that book, or would that be outside of the scope of that?
You guys, everybody can attempt an individual occult roll.
Let's
Oh,
try
hey.
this like 0.5. Let's
As a
go.
disbeliever, would I have disadvantage on that?
No.
Okay.
Why when someone gets a
Fun
one?
fact: in the actual rules of Call of Cthulhu, something we
Oh,
probably
no.
aren't going to get to in this game, but once you get hit by the Cthulhu mythos enough, you are forced to becoming a believer, and that changes the way you interact with sanity.
Oh,
I have not passed a single roll tonight.
don't worry.
That's
John,
okay.
there's many more to
Roll
fail.
more often, right?
I
I'd
have
love to.
fumbled my knowledge of this book.
Yeah, you.
Seat crash.
Ooh, wow,
you,
that's
you
rough.
know so little that you actually know everything, and that's the problem.
Yeah, you just start listing cookbooks. Oh yes, I remember that book. And
De vermicelli alla bolognese.
no one has any idea about this book. It's a freaky book.
Also, I was going to ask what I would, since this is an artifact that I've been after for a while, what do I know about it?
You know that it is incredibly old and Egyptian, and that there is, I mean, it's obviously Egyptian, but you also know that there's like stories and legends attached to it. Part of your want for it is not necessarily it specifically, but just more the idea that like, ooh, Egyptology is really hip nowadays. You're an archaeologist, and this is clearly an Egyptian thing. Also, you haven't opened it, but you do remember that on the outside of this is covered in Egyptian hieroglyphics. But when he showed you this long ago, on the inside, there are runes and pictographs that are not Egyptian hieroglyphics. And that has always perplexed you.
So, real quick, in the journal, I'd like to see or know two things. One, when was the first time he wrote in this journal?
How about this one? There you go. It's
Huh,
going to take you some time to read this journal.
Okay. I just want to know, like, I'm just trying to plan out. What I was going to say is I want to know the first day
Yep.
he ever wrote in it and the last day he's written in it. So, day one is February 27th, 1877.
The last time he obviously wrote, just like quick flipping through pages, is October 14th, 1877. There's stuff after that date, but you can't tell when it was written.
October 14th, 1877?
Yep.
Okay, so not even a year's worth.
And there's some stuff after that, but you can't tell when that was added to the journal.
Sure. So would you like me to read this out loud?
Yes, please.
Okay. February 27th, 1877. Marion Allen has acquired an artifact purportedly Egyptian. It appears to be a small sarcophagus of old. Inside is a large piece of amber, which entraps a specimen of some unknown species of arthropod. Allen is very excited. Who's Allen? As the box corresponds to a description he found in an ordinary reference volume in the university's
Orn. Yep, Orn.
Orne Library. Allen says that in another book, De Vermi Mysterious, is an explanation of the powers of the box. The text says the small animal trapped in the amber is actually the host to a bound de jinn, a guide to the spirit world. Allen says the tome mentions that originally there were 4 such pieces of amber contained in the box. there is no mention what happened to the other 3. We are agreed, and a date has been set to conduct a ceremony intended to summon the Jinn, which Alan assures us will be friendly. We have chosen the night of Saturday 18th of March, the night before the new moon.
Where are we
Who's this
driving to?
Alan character.
Alan is Marion Allen.
That's a great question, because we just kind of left before we knew where the house was.
So if it was left to me, we would.
The
have been
address is on the
heading
deed.
To, we would. I would have chosen to head to like the local library, as deeds are kept there. His tracks of things like that would be kept there.
Mhm.
I'm
In the envelope that
Somewhere
was
in the
given to you,
library.
yeah, in the Orne Library, in the envelope that was given out that had the key and Rupert's letter was also the deed, which has the address. So you know where to find the house. It is possible to go directly to the house.
My suggestion is
I don't like the way you said possible.
Yes.
What's today's date?
July, it's either July 3rd or July 4th,
Oh,
1919.
1919.
July
Woohoo.
3rd or 4th?
Yes, of July.
Well, are there fireworks?
I'm gonna say it's. Are we gonna be doing some investigating?
Yes.
Today's the
Yeah.
3rd.
Okay, thank you.
Today is July.
Spoilers. Also,
And it was supposed to happen. Let's see, I copied the picture into my
there's
other
something
phone.
very important about July 4th now, everyone.
Let's see, it was supposed
It's
to happen
Independence Day, Lois.
March
Yeah,
8th.
clearly.
Gosh, Lois.
Hey, it's nighttime, right, Rob?
It's like early afternoon.
Damn it. Okay.
When is the next full moon supposed to occur? I mean, was it new moon or full moon that it was supposed to happen?
Newman.
Noon.
When is the next new moon supposed to be happening?
I feel like that's not something you just know off the top of your head.
Yeah. You know what would have that
The new
knowledge?
moon's the cycle of the moon, so the new moon's
Mhm.
when there's no moon in the sky, isn't
Hey,
it?
John,
real quick.
John, when is the new moon IRL? Right now.
IRL? I'd have to look at the moon.
Right, so you don't know yet.
We're
So-
outside.
It's
Can
Can
day.
you go to a
in the car.
library?
I look out the window. Where,
You see
in what
the
level is
sun.
the moon?
John, it's day. It's daytime.
Oh, it's day?
Yeah.
Yes, it's early afternoon.
I need it to be night, so I know when the new moon is.
Why don't we just go
Where's
to
my
the library?
farmer's almanac, Rob?
It's in the glove compartment.
I go in the glove compartment. What's in there?
Wentworth, I need your farmer's almanac.
Why does he have a
With-
farmer's almanac?
Because it's that time. Is
You
it,
He's
is
not
it
don't
farmer.
keep
around
one
back
in your
then?
glove compartment?
Only farmers can have farmer's almanacs.
Well, no, it was a very common thing back in the day. It would have all this
Only
random
farmers.
knowledge.
It has it in the title, John.
I'm
What are you talking
really
about?
curious. Was Benjamin Franklin a farmer?
Weren't they all back in
Maybe
time?
like a hobby.
Because he made the first farmer's almanac, and he's no farmer.
I know.
Not a Quaker.
Benjamin Franklin enjoyed wind baths. So I don't really know what he got up to be honest.
He's everything and everything you ever wanted in a politician.
Guys, I just need to know where you're going.
The library.
The
Thank you.
library.
Orne Library.
The Orne Library is part of the
Specific.
Miskatonic University.
Driving
Oh,
around
hey.
in circles until we hit nighttime, so we can tell when the new moon is.
Technically,
Do I-
Woodworth
wait.
is driving.
Keiko
Nevada-
produces a sextant.
Is-
I have a mini science kit.
It doesn't have a sextant.
Is,
It's not the
is
right kind of
Nevada a
science.
professor at Miskatonic, or is he just a professor somewhere else?
Would you like him to be a professor at Miskatonic?
I mean, I feel like it's Cthulhu. Everything's in
handouts are-
Everything.
in Arkham.
Everything happens in Arkham. It's the center of the world.
It
If
really
you're here,
is.
you're in Arkham. Full time.
The Dungeon Master screen for Call of Cthulhu, put out by Chaosium, gives you a map of what they call Lovecraft Country and Essex
Mhm.
County. It's great.
Nice.
So sure, you can totally be a professor at Arkham University.
Sure.
Which
that was just I have an office. If these guys just get too much for me, I can just go go chill, look at my box.
go look at your box. So yeah, we're gonna go to the Orn Library at the Miskatonic University. Sounds great.
Awesome.
I'm gonna say we get there around 3-ish. That was like early afternoon. It's not a terrible drive. Most of this is happening near Arkham.
Can I just acknowledge real quick? We were all like, "Oh, cool, he's dead. We got things to do."
It's one of
No
those things where
mourning,
like he's
just
probably been dying a
acceptance.
while.
Yeah.
So
Like,
it's like
he was my professor. Like, am I gonna
Or are
cry
we all
over?
just in the stage of denial of, he's fine.
Oh,
He gave us a very important task.
yeah.
and the
I feel
task must be
this
complete.
seemed pretty
Well,
important.
You
and
may
he's
not
dead,
be a
so he can't.
believer. That does not mean that we are all not believers.
John,
I have to prove that his soul is safe because he's wrong.
John, if I was dying and I gave you a really random task to go to my mom's house, would you do that without question?
Maybe.
That's a fair
That's
answer.
not how far away your house is.
That's
I forgot to mention, Wentworth has 3 additional papers, and without like reading them right now, which we can do in a little while once we like settle down and stop driving, you can very cursory glance look at it, tell that they are they're documents, they're copies of documents that come from a police station.
Wait, why can't I look at them?
It's probably the police report of the dead guy whose name I really want to know.
It's Alan. That's
Is
the.
it Alan?
Yes, it's Marion Allen.
His name has come up more than once.
Oh, I thought Mary
Is
and
it
Alan were two
Mary
separate
Ann?
people. No,
Yeah,
it's
His
Marion.
name was in the letter you read, John. It's Marion
Isn't it?
Allen.
Isn't the first word? Yeah, it's the
Yes.
first word.
John, I'm getting confused too.
Well, I thought
To be
it
fair,
just refers to
Marion
him as Alan.
is a weird choice for a dude's name. As far
Well, it
as
says
pop
Marion
culture,
Allen.
Oh,
as far as pop culture would lead us to
Are you
believe.
saying-
No, it's
are
not-
you
it's not
insinuating
like-
that dudes with strange names are led to the occult?
That's
Yes.
very
It
wrong?
could be.
No, I was just saying because he just started mentioning to her as the last name. I thought that Alan was
No.
a different person.
Yeah, that's
This
really
is the-
strange.
this is
Isn't
the
that,
20s.
Rob?
People
I mean,
only have last names.
yeah,
in the
right,
20s.
Croy. We never refer to you as any other thing than Croy, right?
It's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
true.
fair. That's fair.
LaCroix.
Oh, Croy. I actually did not make that connection.
Never? I have.
Oh,
Really?
yeah, Mr. Mary Allen. Don't get me.
So we make it to the library, or at least the university.
Yes.
What do people
Sure.
wish to do?
Uh,
I'd like to give Nevada, since you work here, a chance at a fun little roll. Probably education. Yeah, give me an education roll.
Sure.
That'll be
Where's-
convenient
wait.
because you're here.
Oh.
and
I'm good at education. It's my best
Ooh,
stat.
that was a
Hey.
close one, but success. Barely.
Excellent. You don't often cross paths with this person because you just tend to teach and study different subjects. But you are aware of a man named Professor Armitage, and he teaches folklore and mythology and stuff like that. So if you're interested in like trying to figure out this whole book thing, that would be one of the better sources to go.
Yeah, I was gonna also check on the sarcophagus because they mentioned it being a book about it in the library, so I wanted to find that book and then also talk to the dude about the other book.
Bet you there's no more copies.
It's like my 2 things.
Can I go
There
to
was
his
a book in the
office?
library about the sarcophagus.
The
Yeah.
the sarcophagus is mentioned in this book, the same one. We're only talking about
Oh,
the
and they
Dave,
said-
me,
Because they said
Mercedes.
they found something about it in the Orn library, and then it was also in the occult book.
But that was also in like
the Orn
the-
library.
The occult book was in the library.
Yes. We don't know how many copies of Dave or me, Mercedes there was in the library, though.
So we make it to the university.
Yes.
Wait, does he have an office in the university?
Who? Nevada Jones or
If I'm
Armitage?
No.
Professor.
No, Rupert.
Rupert.
No, he
Yeah.
he hasn't taught there in a long time.
Oh.
Where did he used to teach? Well, I mean, did he used to have a office there?
I feel like he would have taught, let's say, languages.
Because
Okay.
I have the superstitious like to leave things in their old places.
Wentworth, what are your opinions on the events that are taking place currently?
I believe the current best course of action would be to head to the library, read these papers there under optimal lighting condition, and research not only the book left behind as well as any connections these might have.
Should we split up
I'll
the
go
group?
talk to Army.
Army.
I think us three should go to the library while Nevada talks to Army.
Fantastic.
Are we? Awesome.
Are we leaving him alone with the stone?
Yes, because I have.
There's no stone in it.
Oh,
It said that there were 3 other stones, and there are no stones in this box.
Oh.
So you could surmise that there were in total 4. They used
I wonder
1.
if it was in-
3 more are gone, and your box is empty.
That's not good.
Yeah, I would have at some point passing it without opening it because I don't think I've opened it yet.
I'm
I've
sure we
just been
would have
kinda
heard it
holding on
rattle.
to it, but
Yeah, there's not been a
it
rattle
didn't
sound.
sound like there was anything in there.
Yeah.
But did
You
we
also
open-
have seen inside it before.
True.
Mhm.
True. Oh yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. So, Nevada Jones, you're headed to go talk to a colleague, not necessarily a friend, but a person you know, Professor Armitage. And the 3 of you are going to go to the Orn Library, which is really Lois and Wentworth are going to be looking stuff up, and Keiko is going to continue to work at the diary.
Yeah,
Fair.
man.
Sound good?
Mhm.
All right. So, I need a library use from Lois and Wentworth. And Nevada Jones, you get to Professor Armitage's office, and it's office hours, and he is there.
Oh, great.
Armitage,
Sorry.
Would you like us to make separate rolls, or would we be aiding each other?
you can aid each other. That's fine.
Oh well, I already.
Having advantage is actually better than each of you rolling independently.
Whoops.
It's true.
That's fine. Just figure yourselves out and roll.
They say that much in the rule book. They're like, don't just roll again, it's worse.
Yeah, don't do that.
Oh, well, that's good.
Let me pull it up. Great. So I'll get to you guys in a second. You guys, Nevada Jones gets to Armitage's 23 rolled. Oh, I see. Okay. You get to his office and you find Armitage, and he's sitting at his desk. He has been here for a long time. So he has one of the better offices. He has a nice big desk, and the thing that is most memorable at Armitage is that he is phenomenally morbidly obese. He's just huge, and just having to work at his desk from a backwards angle, writing on his on people's
Rob, you just cut.
I think we lost you, Croy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Is the stream still up?
Oh, yeah, everybody else is frozen on the stream.
Oh, I see Rob moving again.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Hi.
moving.
Okay,
Hi.
hey, we're
Hi.
back.
The internet is fluctuates sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Is it Cthulhu?
yeah, it's
That's
Cthulhu.
That's the first time it hasn't been me. So that's great.
So, phenomenally morbidly obese man who has to lean back and has to over himself lean forward, get to his papers that he's grading, and he sees you, and he looks up and, Nevada, how can I help you?
Yeah, Professor, I had a question about a book.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's De Vermi Mysteries or something like that.
Roll psychology.
Sure.
Psychology in this game is usually used as a sense motive in other games of just I want to kind of read how this person does.
Hey.
So you can tell that he immediately recognizes that name. He obviously knows what you're talking about, and he goes, "That is a strange book, Latin, and I don't know it." He's lying.
Yeah, so do you want to give that another thought? Because it seems like you do know what I'm talking about, and I'm kind of on a tight schedule here.
What do you want the book for? Or at least, why are you looking at the book? Why are you interested in this book at all?
I'm looking at the book in relation to this thing, and I'll hold up the sarcophagus. Do you remember Rupert?
Yes.
Yeah, you've been here a while. Yeah, he's got us doing an errand for him. Well, he's dead now, but we're running an errand for him, you know, as
That's
kind of a
terrible.
last wish sort of thing. So if we could get this moving.
I get what moving, Mr. Jones. I'm still not sure what you want.
know, I just need to know about this book, how it relates to this thing. If you got a copy, that'd be great.
Okay, so as soon as you ask that, we're gonna hop on over. How did our rolls go?
I believe I assisted.
I
Oh,
don't
and
quite know what it's saying, but I believe I
Hard
I'm not quite sure.
success.
+1. You have
pretty much
+1.
across the board.
You have +1, which is advantage, and you get a hard success on that, which means that you did super, super well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you guys go in. Nevada probably introduces you to the librarian before he heads off to the professor. And with that, because of your excellent success, I surmise that they were probably helping you and looking up stuff about this.
Sir, I have a 60 in library use. Are you telling me I don't know this librarian?
During this time, Keiko is poring over the journal and finds that. So can you go ahead and read us that really quick as I get them their result?
Sure. So the day after the supposed scheduled time for the ritual, March 19th, 1877, we began the ceremony as Alan instructed, according to that described in De Vermi Mysteries. A fire is set in the fireplace and a pentagram chalked on the floor, marked with the appropriate symbols and illuminated by two black tapers placed near the center, flanking the piece of amber with its entrapped spirit. The others sit in a circle while I, the designated watcher, who guards from malevolent spirits, sit in the corner of the room. At least I get the comfort of a chair, while the others can look forward to sitting on the floor for hours. Alan throws a handful of powder in the fire, producing an evil-smelling smoke and dampening the flames, which now burn a sputtering green and brown. Those seated on the floor begin the Latin chant Alan has transcribed from his book. After nearly 2 hours, I see a trail of smoke circling up from a piece of amber. Its surface seems to be bubbling and melting. Can this be? Have we finally achieved success? I can see a form.
You find I was incorrect. Good job, Ethan. You find the other occult book in this library that was referencing this sarcophagus. You guys grab Lois and Wentworth, grab the book, and you sit down and you're with Keiko. And you read that it contains a drawing and a description of the box that you've all seen that Nevada has. Where is that box, by the way, guys?
I thought it was still with
hold on.
Nevada.
Nevada has it.
Yeah,
Nevada
'cause I
has
was
it
like-
talking
I
to
was
Armitage.
like, I need the
Sarcophagi
book.
box or black box?
The sarcophagus.
Yeah, I have the sarcophagus because I'm like, I need the book that goes with this.
Yeah, the book that goes with it's got it. Yep. So they find a book that goes with it while you're talking to him, and you learn that it was in the possession. It was owned by a pharaoh, not really well known, Nofru Ka. He would eventually go on to usurp and take the Egyptian throne. He lived in the 3rd dynasty of the ancient Egypt, as those of you who are into Egyptology would love to know.
I'm educated.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
Nofru Ka. You can spell that however you want. Nofru Ka.
Through Ka. Got it.
The legends that are attached to this is that they believed that there was a jinn inside of this box, and that with this box that he was given, he was able to usurp the throne, because that's what he would eventually be able to do. Long after that, it was eventually sold and found by the Perkinby Andersons, which is a British noble family, and they held on to the box until they mysteriously lost it in 1871.
1871, lost by the who?
Perkinby Andersons.
Parking by the Andersons.
We have 6 years of not knowing what happened to the box.
Yep,
which
it
is not
was-
important.
It was ancient Egypt. They said weird stuff about it. Owned by a English family, and then disappeared, and now you guys have it. So Nevada raises up the sarcophagus and looking at Armitage says, "I need to know what's going on with this." And Armitage sees it and goes, "How do you have that? Where did you find it?"
Look, man, I told you it was Rupert. He gave us all this stuff, and we've got sort of a bit of a task to handle.
And what task is that?
Don't know. That's what I need the book for.
Well, I assure you the book will not help.
Well, we're undoing something, fixing something. I don't know. He says there's some kind of, I don't know, spooky thing in a house. You know, Rupert. You remember he was kind of funny like that.
I assure you that if you take that book, then you will only make things worse, including for yourself.
Well, help me make things better then. I don't want to make things worse any more than you apparently also don't want to do those things.
Well, then it's not going to be with that book. Because you get a hard success, you found out that a copy of that book, Lois and Wentworth, is in this library.
Can we find it?
Yeah, I have of course gone to find it.
Well, you can't.
I know my Dewey Decimal System.
It's in the special artifacts room, and you talk to librarians about it, and they say that this is kept under lock and key, and only specific people have access to this. And the curator of this is Professor Armitage. Going back to Nevada, I would like to help you however I can, but the book, you've been talking to Rupert. Then if something strange is going on, which I fully believe could be happening, then the book will make it worse, and I will help you fix this some other way. You cannot have the book.
You know what? I should have done that while I was looking.
So you probably know more about this stuff than me, right? I would assume.
I envy your position.
Okay, well that doesn't make me feel much better, but look, all I know is they summoned something in this house, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to get rid of it because everybody who summoned it's dead, and apparently that's a problem.
I offer you an alternative solution. Don't go to the house and don't endanger your lives.
Wait, you know of the house? Wait,
You're not there.
Yeah, I mentioned it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so let's take that option off the table because we know about
Fuck
it.
That.
We know about it, so now we're kind of responsible. Do you understand that?
Your line of thinking would imply that I'm responsible, since I now know. And
well, I mean, that's your individual choice. But
well, then it's yours as well. I'll sleep well.
Okay, well, we're apparently not going to be sleeping well because we got to go to this house. So can you be helpful in this regard?
I don't know what you want from me. You're not getting the book, and I can tell you that it's going to be dangerous and that you should approach it very cautiously.
Okay, so very cautiously is very not specific.
I don't know what the problem is, and neither do you. And therein lies the problem.
Can you help me figure that out?
What's up, Lois?
Without endangering your self.
The librarian told me Armitage has the key, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, access.
Access? Okay. I'm gonna start not yelling, strongly encouraging the librarian to help me get into the thing without Armitage knowing, even though I don't have access. And eventually I will give up. And I remember
what is fast?
Nevada is going to Armitage, so I'm going to go to Nevada while he is with Armitage, if that is okay.
Yep. And what's Wentworth doing?
I have these other papers to be researching at this time.
You sure do.
No.
Two of them are really similar.
What is fast talk?
John, have you ever talked fast?
It's talking real fast to get by somebody without really saying anything of substance.
Good questions. Yeah, exactly. So in Call of Cthulhu, there's 4 interpersonal skills. You probably know of them as diplomacy, intimidate. In more traditional RPGs, in this game, there is charm, intimidate, fast talk, and persuade. they all attempt to do the same thing, which is get what you want, get your way, but they accomplish them in different ways. If you fast talk someone, they might come to their senses later and be like, wait, no, he tricked me. If you intimidate someone, you might get what you want, but they'll be pretty salty later. If you persuade someone, you might even be able to get a help. But in each case, you'll probably get what you want if you succeed within reason. Which leads me to Nevada Jones. Would you like to attempt a skill on Professor Armitage? Sounds like you were trying to persuade there.
Yeah. This definitely feels more like a persuade because it's kind of my impression of persuade is like an extended sort of conversation. That's like pretty please.
Pretty
This
please.
is a meaningful location for me, so I wanted to see if I knew the librarians. That's why I was wondering.
But yeah, I can roll persuade if you want.
Yes, please.
Nope.
Oof.
Nice.
And Armitage looks obviously resolute in that he will help in other ways, but he's not going to actually go anywhere, and he's not going to give you access to that book. And then in comes Lois. Keiko, no, you don't know any of the librarians here. The way meaningful locations work, and one of the things the way meaningful locations work is that you are able to, in the more specific rules of this game, interact with one of your meaningful locations, people, or items, and then that's called your treasured possession, basically. And then you can use that in between sessions to regain some sanity. However, since Keiko is in a library doing cool stuff, Keiko can gain 1 sanity.
Hey.
In this one shot for fun.
Oh.
Yeah. So where do I up that?
It's on the top part.
Just so I can teach you guys, because this is actually really important for some sanity rules. Open up your guys' character sheets.
Yeah.
And look at the sanity box. It has 4 boxes on the top. It should say floor, and then a number, which is 99, and then start. The start is whatever your current sanity is. Go ahead and input that for me. And then it will auto-calculate what your floor is. If you reach your floor in basically 1 game session or too little time, you go indefinitely insane and require months of therapy.
Yeah.
How do I know my start?
Look in your sanity. What's that number?
In the middle.
So it's the middle number.
Yep, that's what you're currently starting at, which for you is 60.
I go to 61.
So then, next game session, you'd update whatever that start is, and then that would be your next floor.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So you can slowly lose your sanity without going completely insane.
Right. You could lose 1 or 2 sanity at a time for almost forever, and you'll never actually go insane. If you lose 5 or more sanity too quickly, you'll have a bout of madness and go insane temporarily. If you lose 20% of your entire sanity in too quick a time, you go indefinitely insane, have a bout of madness, and take months of therapy to recover.
Cool.
Don't do that.
But that's half the fun, Rob.
All right, so where are we at?
You don't want me to go permanently insane in this one shot that's lasting 1 night?
At
One
this
night,
rate, we're not finishing in 1 night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the game is probably only taking place in game time.
I'm expecting this to take 2 days in game.
Mm.
Where are we at? What are we doing?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm very interested to hear about these other options and other ways of helping from here, Professor Armitage.
What do you mean other ways of helping? Very briefly, as I just punch through the door, I guess.
Well, that's the thing, is that I don't know the thing that you're dealing with, and I don't care to look it up because that leads to problems. I am offering, if you come to me with questions, I will tell you what I know. I'm not going to actually tell you what to do or give you more. But if you come up to me and you're like, and you say something like, Professor Armitage, I'm going to summon a demon, I will say, that's a bad idea. And then you'll do it, and then I will say, I told you so.
So all I'm hearing...
If anything, we're trying to unsummon a demon, so we're clear.
You know,
Professor Armitage.
Things happen when you deal with things like this.
Professor,
Yes.
were you not friends with Rupert at all?
We were colleagues in the same way that Mr. Jones and I are.
Has he brought
Yeah.
up the Dark Brotherhood at all, or do you know what that is?
I'm sorry, who are you?
Hi, you don't know me.
This is Lois. Just assume whatever she's saying, unless I explicitly say otherwise. It's like basically the same thing I'm saying. I'm assuming we're on the same page.
You
Professor
are
Rupert
colleagues.
got me.
Sure.
No loose ends? Professor Rupert taught me, quote unquote, me about Egyptology, and it was just very interesting. And I'm here because I'm thankful for that, I guess. So, anyways, we need access to a book in the library, and you only have access to it. Will you allow us access?
I don't think he's gonna allow us access.
Wait, why won't he though?
What-
Literally, all we need is the book.
What book?
Its librarian said like you only have access to it in special archives.
It's the
section.
De Vermis Mysterious.
Oh, good. No, I've had this conversation with Mr. Jones. No.
Why? Are you scared of us dying? Because that's weird.
You
Why
should
would
be.
we die?
You should
Why?
be scared of yourself dying.
Why? We are going to this house. We just need the book, and that's it. What is so bad about this thing? We were literally just going there for the deed and just clearing it out from something. I don't know why you're concerned. Why don't you just let us?
Mr. Jones, your colleague is oppressive in
I
their questions.
understand. I understand. Look,
What?
not you. Look,
I'm still
we
here.
need to know what we're doing, which I think is in the book. You got nothing to do with it, man. At the end of the day, Professor Armitage has nothing to do with any of this.
I agree. I have nothing to do with this. Please see yourselves out. You're going to realize that you realize that you're going to get nowhere with him at this point. You take a step forward?
No, I take some of his graded papers and walk out with them.
Okay, so this is the point where
It's
we both
several
know
months.
I'm not cool with that. Professor Armitage. See you at the Christmas party. And I'll walk out of the office.
I'd like to try to persuade one of the librarians to let me into. I mean, they see me here. They know I look at weird books, and I just dig deep. I need to dig deep this book.
I was gonna try to charm a librarian because Nevada Jones.
You're going to try to convince the librarian to let you into the restricted books?
Yeah.
I was gonna try. to
I'm here
intimidate, but
often.
I didn't
Like,
pull
it's not weird
myself.
for me to just want weird books.
I work here.
You're here often as a student, and Nevada Jones is a professor, but the restricted books, remember, is like actual.
They're not restricted archaeology books. I would make that case.
They're like assets to the college as a foundation.
And
I have
you,
brought
as
plenty
the
of
archaeology,
assets to the
and you, as the archaeology professor, have access to the archaeology restricted book.
Special
Trade them the
collections is like
sarcophagus
one
thing.
room typically.
For sure.
Two.
And I do like the angle of going into the archaeology stuff. The thing is
And
that
then
this
just going.
book specifically is for Armitage, and so it's not in the same place, but it will get you into like the restricted access conceptual corridor.
There's a connect there too, because your thing is archaeological, the sarcophagus, and the book that goes with it will help your archaeology. So it's allowed under the archaeology confidentiality agreement thing.
One out of
That
100
restricted book.
times, I could pick the lock.
Oh yeah.
There will be issues if you fail.
I'm better at sleight of handing.
Yeah, I'll just approach a librarian and say, "Hey, I just brought this artifact in, and there's some books that go with it in the restricted section. I need to get back there."
Just don't think too much about it.
I mean, that's just what I say. I don't know what the librarian thinks about that, but
I mean, you are the professor here, and she kind of looks at
Professor
you.
Nevada Jones, professor of archaeology,
Professor twice in the title.
with tenure.
Well, one's capitalized because it's part of his proper name. The other was lowercase because that's his job title.
Well, no, the job title would also be capitalized.
Oh, that's fair.
Academics are very self-important. I can tell you that from firsthand experience.
But when does tenure go into the title? Is it before or
at the
after?
end, because
Okay.
it's the
When you-
most important thing.
When you outlast Armitage.
Different departments doesn't have
There
anything
was
to
a
do with each
horse.
other.
Jesus.
What are you doing, Mary? Wentworth?
Well, is Lois or not Lois? Kaiko still here?
Yep, and Keiko is still going through that diary.
Keiko, look to see if there are any entries from the night of August the 13th.
I will do so.
I believe that was the night where Marion Allen was murdered. The
There-
police reports of August the 14th find his body.
There is not a journal entry for that date specifically.
What is the nearest to it?
Well, Keiko did recently just get get through more of the diary. Can you go ahead and give it to us?
Sure. After that, do we want to read the police reports?
Yeah.
All right. So March 20th, 1877. We have finished with our plans and have sworn a pact never to speak of what happened last night. We have satisfactorily explained the death of poor Robert, and in some manner the madness of Harold. The sheriff accepts the explanation of a carriage accident. We planned it well. Robert's neck was broken in the fall, we told him. Harold struck his head on a rock. When the horse's leg broke and the carriage rolled, would it be that it was only that? For the rest of us, we will be forever changed by what we experienced last night. I will write down the true events so they are not lost completely. The thing formed in the center of the pentagram, shapeless and nearly invisible. Its terrible voice should have given us a clue, but we were so foolish. It spoke. Then Alan cast that damn powder on the Djinn. The dust of the Ibn Ghazi, he calls it. And that's when we could all see it clearly. Words cannot adequately describe the faceless thing with 1,000 mouths. It roiled and bubbled, never fully revealing itself at any one time. So terrifying was its aspect that I was frozen in place, my pen falling from my nerveless fingers. Cecil and Alan seemed as lifeless as myself. With a short, sharp cry issued from Crawford's mouth. Robert, however, rose to his feet, and before anyone could stop him, stepped forward as though to embrace our horrible guest.
We have some police reports as well that we've managed to look over while we've been talking to Armitage.
Also, we now need to go back and speak to him again.
Why?
He said if we, like, hey,
you
if
had
you have
questions.
any proper names, ask me a question. And the dust of the Ibn Ghazi seems like a proper name to ask him about.
I think after stealing some of
unless we
his
would know
stuff,
that-
that probably closed off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, they're graded papers.
They don't know me yet. I could go
To be
ask.
fair, I'm pretty sure it's a felony. Or at least, I don't
It's
know if
the
at that
20s.
point, today it would
20
be
years in the
a pretty
20s.
serious crime.
It's the
Yeah.
20s.
Somebody read me a police report.
New
How's that?
Orleans Police Department. Statement of Corman Howard, patrol officer. Entered Tuesday, August 14th, 1877. I was on my assigned route through the docks and warehouse quarter nearing the Gulf and Panama docks at 5:47 a.m. when I saw sign of a person lying among some shipping crates. I first thought that it was a vagrant asleep. As I moved closer to rouse the subject, I then saw bloodstains. On closer inspection, the victim was dead. He was lying on his back, arms splayed. His chest was opened up, with the full contents visible, ribs open. The head was thrown back, mouth open. I had to make a very close inspection to know he was dead. Since there was nothing I could do to help the victim, I hurried to the nearest adjacent beat where I knew I would find Officer Wood. I told him what I found and instructed him to get assistance. I would go back and secure the crime scene. When I got back, some dock workers had gathered around, and one was endeavoring to go through the victim's pockets. I stopped him and had the men move away from the body. I then inspected the man to make sure nothing was taken. At this time, it was light enough to see details more clearly, and I saw the mark on the victim's forehead. It was a symbol of unknown origin carved into his skin, as if with a sharp penknife or similar weapon. I found a tarpaulin nearby, which I carefully laid across the victim until detectives could arrive on the scene.
We'll read the other police report, Raider. So someone is trying to approach a librarian now, and they say, I'm the professor of archaeology. Yeah, they recognize you, and they're like, yeah, you can go to your things. Like you're in charge of the archaeological finds.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what's the setup back here?
So it's in the library, but it's in the basement. So they're gonna have to take you down some stairs, and you've been down here before. It's honestly kind of like metal shelf cabinet warehousey type style. There is some of these rooms, like imagine that this is restricted because the general public isn't allowed to be here.
Yeah.
But you're also aware that further down is a large, heavy, locked door that is restricted in the way that not anyone's supposed to be here except specific people, and you don't go there. That's not
I
where
don't
they
have
keep
any
the
books
archaeology.
like that.
No, you don't.
I don't keep the Ark of the Covenant down there.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's what? That's 30 something, right?
Mm-hmm. We're working on it. You tidied up.
I'll be dead by then. This is Call of Cthulhu.
You won't be dead. You'll be insane.
Or both.
It could be both.
Or both. Both is an option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had one of those in a past game.
Nice.
Good.
So yeah, a librarian is gonna follow you down and can help you however you need help.
Yeah, and once she gets down there, I'll say, I was just talking with Professor Armitage, and he said he needed me to grab a book for him from his section, and I was going to bring it back to his office on my way out. Would that be all right? I just try to be charming, like friendly,
and like librarians are not part of like they're faculty, but they're not like professors, right? So like, well, if Armitage asked you, then yes. Did he give you the key?
No.
Oh,
No, do you guys not handle those?
That section is for Professor Armitage.
Oh.
He has the key.
Oh, okay. Well,
he must
no
have
harm, no foul.
Hold on. Does it tell you when I make a roll? Because I can do a secret roll.
Let's
find out.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think if you just roll, it will say.
Nope.
She is obviously now suspicious.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I be charming to make her less suspicious?
Sure, you can try.
Or if I fail, make her even more suspicious.
I thought he just said you're not suspicious.
Ooh.
Hey, she calls the police.
Fumbleia.
Did he get us all in there, or just himself?
Just
I
himself.
thought it was just him.
Yeah, I was just scoping it out more than anything.
So, she leaves you to your archaeological places, and she says something along the lines of like, "I'm needed upstairs. If you need anything from me, please let me know."
Okay.
I have a credit.
Do I have anything vaguely useful down here?
In what way?
Like knowing what I know now, like any proper names from like that time period that might be useful, like
No,
more
not
on the
really.
historical side than the occult side.
Yeah, you definitely have like a few items from the Third Dynasty of Egypt, but they're not like it's like having urns, or like a pot.
Yeah,
it's just like these are cool.
Okay.
Go ahead and give me another police report.
Yeah.
Someone.
Anybody?
New Orleans Police Department. Statement of Warren Herald Detective. Entered Tuesday, August 14th, 1877. I was assigned to the case and immediately went to the scene to gather information. Officer Corman was present, keeping the dock workers back from the scene. He informed me that while he was getting assistance, one of the workers had started to rifle through the victim's pockets. He said that he searched the man, but it appeared that no items were stolen. I found the victim's wallet still in his jacket pocket, identifying him as Marion Marcus Allen of Arkham, Massachusetts. No money was found in the wallet or anywhere else about him. The victim's head had characters carved into it. Bone was visible. The mouth was open and I could see no sign of his tongue, which looked to have been severed and removed. The man's rib cage had been torn open and the organs had been cut or mutilated in some manner. I request that the medical examiner verify the placement and count of all internal organs. There were some footprints around the body, and all on the side facing the opening in a pile of crates. There was some dried blood on the body and the ground, but not enough to fit with the wounds. I surmise that the killing happened elsewhere, and the body was placed at the docks afterward.
So what have you been up to, Lois?
I want to go back to Armitage if that's okay.
Do you go back with the papers?
Yes.
Sure. You arrive back at Armitage's office, and he has university level like guards, just like
Oh.
people talking to him in his office. You can see them from down the hall before you enter. Would you like to go to Armitage's office?
No, that's fine. I'm just gonna leave the papers on the floor and then head back to the library. I am upset, and I have a plan for Armitage, but I would like to get the group's consent before I throw away leads left and right.
All
'Cause I'm
right.
upset.
Keiko, sorry, but you're still poring over this book, which is excellent. And Lois,
I actually do have a couple things I want to ask.
yeah.
So, is this too old of a time period for there to be copies of newspapers kept for reading? Because I know some libraries, they keep copies of newspapers.
No, you can totally go to the microfilm.
I'd like to see if there's microfilm of, you know, both this police report period and the time of the ritual, and see what newspaper thingies happened during that time, if there's any of relevance.
Sure, give me a library use.
Yeah, that's a 50. Where that?
My charm roll was a 50, so be careful.
You got it.
Yeah, got it with a 40.
Excellent. Oh, that's fun. No, you can totally find a couple things. Unfortunately, you don't find anything terribly useful except just like contextual surrounding evidence. Things like a couple months before the date of the ritual, there is a newspaper article talking about how this farmhouse had been bought, how it had previously been owned by another family who had used it as farming, and they were part of the local community. How there is like an opinion piece about how they don't like this town. It don't this section of Arkham doesn't like that the property is being owned by people, especially a fraternity of people. And then you can find like another newspaper article a few months later, maybe even a couple years later, that's talking about how people are frustrated that while the taxes and all of the legal portions of having to own this place is still being upkept, the actual foundation, house, and grounds are not. So they have no legal standing to complain about it because it's a small place and people like to be close knit. So
Sure.
things like that. And when you look more into the death of Marion Allen, you find a couple newspaper clippings that say basically what's in the police reports, but not to more extent because these are from the police reports.
Sure. And then one last question I have. It's more regarding biology. Is that like biology of like how a person's anatomy is? Or like I know the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell or whatever.
Roll biology. And what exactly are you asking? What do you mean about anatomy?
Because there's a lot of discussion in these news reports about the rib cage being tore open,
Yeah.
organs being pulled out and
Yeah.
destroyed. I want to know like what kind of animalistic force it would take to do this. Like how much force it would take to do that.
Sure. Biology.
That is just regular success.
It is a regular success. Not an inhuman amount of force, but definitely a dedicated amount of force. And you're also unaware This kind of goes beyond the scope of your, like, this piece of information goes beyond the scope of biology in your study, but you are not aware of any animals that tends to do that. Most animals, predatory and scavenger-like animals, would go for easy opening access and not some weird mutilation. And the actual mutilation is very possible within human means.
Okay. Okay. Back to my books.
Yeah, just like taking a moment out of the Merriweather Diary. It's like, hold on, wait, let me go look at these newspapers, and you come on back to that. Who would like to do what?
I'm just heading back upstairs if I don't have anything useful.
Okay, you head on back upstairs.
I'm gonna hang around.
The
Crap, I
library?
can't remember. Yeah, I'm gonna head back to the library and hang out by Kiko.
Yeah.
And just wait for the group to gather back up.
Sure.
I would like to maybe give like a closer look at this actual like sarcophagus and maybe like actually do some study on it. Like, what do the things say? What is the, like the usual
Sure.
archaeology kind of stuff. Like, I have this box. I know what it's from, but I would like detailed information about it since we're just sitting around.
Are you trying to translate it, like the hieroglyphics?
That is actually what I was about to go ask if I could help him.
Yeah, so I don't have like a specific hieroglyph. For some
Don't
reason, the only
worry.
language I have is Latin.
I do.
I know.
Ah, yes, Mr. Nevada Jones. Would you mind if I take a closer inspection upon your hieroglyphic box?
But I do have archaeology, which would be like, I assume, knowing where to look to find translations of things.
Sure. So then you can roll. I'll have Wentworth roll hieroglyphics with advantage.
Okay.
Nice.
How'd we do?
Well,
Awful.
is it +1?
Yeah, it's a +1.
Well, then that's a fail.
I would like to now introduce to you guys the rule of pushing the roll. An option that you have available to you that you do not have to do is you can spend extra time in resources to push a roll and roll again. If you fail, something bad will happen, but if you succeed, something good will happen. In this case, if you try to look over these hieroglyphics more, you're going to get the sense that you've been in this library for some time doing lots of various research, and you have heard like Nevada and Lois talking about how Armitage is getting a little displeased, and you watched a librarian come up from the basement and then leave out the front door of the library. Would you like to spend more time on this?
So is that like that's the situation I'm in right now? Is that is happening?
Yes. Which is my fun little soft move of like, if you fail, keep these things in mind.
Yeah, pushing a roll, it's always going to make it worse if you mess up.
But it's more entertaining.
But you also,
Well, I still have the advantage.
yeah, you have a 70% with advantage still. So that's why I'm offering it.
Wait, how?
Let's do it.
Oh, you have a 50% with advantage.
My
Yeah.
archaeology is a 70%. I don't know if that's...
That's why you got the advantage.
Okay.
He has the
Uh,
hieroglyphics. Yeah, Lois?
Can I go and see if they have records and deeds for the place?
Well, you
I
have
the deed.
you have the deed.
Oh, like a blueprint?
You want I mean, yeah, you can go and look, but you're not going to find anything.
That'd
'cause
be
it's-
more of a city hall kind of thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a
okay, I
city
wasn't
hall.
sure.
That is a city hall type of thing, and this is also like an extremely old building. It's not like it's
Fair.
up to code or anything like that.
Ooh,
Hard successes.
I heard.
You got
Nice.
a hard success. Excellent.
Can I make a very suspicious phone call?
So you are looking at the sarcophagus and you are able to translate it. For some reason, you are able to do that, which is awesome.
Did any of these medical examiner things comes with photos for us?
No.
Okay.
The police reports, no, they're not.
They didn't have cameras back.
What is the translation of the hieroglyphics, guys?
Seeker of wisdom, servant son of Yorg Sethith, deliverer of the people, slaves of the water, bearer of the spirits of Nyarlatahotep, child of Thoth, seeker of wisdom.
And because of your hard success, you also realize that the engravings that are on the inside of the sarcophagus are
Can I ask
not
this?
are not Egyptian, but also aren't any language that you recognize. Not just like, oh, this is an Egyptian, but like I've never seen this before. Like this is not a language people know.
Is
While you're
that
translating,
would
you don't say 'em out
archaeology
loud.
be?
What's up, Keiko?
I was just gonna ask, while he's translating, he doesn't read them out loud, does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I read them at the end when I translated them.
Yeah.
Out loud.
So this
Do
is
you-
what this means,
does your
guys.
character who's a non-believer think that would do something?
Oh, Keiko called out.
I mean, you're right. Shit.
Would archaeology be useful in like what branch of like is this even remotely close to anything?
No, it's not.
No.
No,
Okay.
these runes are essentially alien.
That's essentially alien. That's kind of concerning.
A lot of people would look because like it's not like they're like blue and made of fluorescence, right? Like you look at them and you go, wow, this is strange, and then people who don't read hieroglyphics look at the front and they go, that must be part of the same thing. But now that you've translated, you can tell, no, these are different. These are different, and one of these people don't know anywhere. This is weird.
What is natural?
Natural world is knowing the world, like how the world operates, and like just understanding. It's not better to say. It's not easier to say than just like natural world is just knowing how things work, like literally how physics works and things work in the world.
I throw a ball, it goes down.
Yeah, and then when it doesn't, and that messes with your natural world, that's when you roll sanity.
Okay.
All right. How we doing, guys? What are we doing?
I think we've.
I
probably
wish to
done
go
as much
see the
as we
house.
Oh
can
yeah,
here.
wait.
Yeah.
Before this, do we care about what Professor Armitage thinks of us as a group? Do we care?
No, I'm gonna see it. Well, I care because I have to work with the
I don't
guy,
even
so
know who he is.
Please
What, we're-
don't. I mean, I have tenure, so we're fine on
Yeah,
like,
I was
the
gonna say,
job
you
front,
have
but like,
tenure.
don't get me arrested.
What
No,
is his subject again?
Folklore. It's relevant to me, so don't like
I very
piss
much
him off
care.
any more than he already is.
Okay, so my plan was to rough him up to get the key.
That's not how Call of Cthulhu works out of game. That's a bad idea.
Excuse me. Or we can wait until nightfall and then break into his office to steal a key.
Look.
Do you have locksmith?
I have a fist and rocks. We
Do
are
you
on
have
college
higher
campus.
than a 1% chance of opening the door?
Locksmith. Give me a sec. Let me just look.
Why?
'Cause if
Nevada,
so,
there are rocks everywhere.
I found rocks, and that is my best tool to get into buildings with glass.
I work here, so I'm gonna go with a no on that one.
Lois, the
Yes.
world has not gone mad. There may be some monstrosity, but that does not mean it is time to start breaking the laws.
I was
I'm
supposed
very
to.
interested in this gentleman's worldview,
Of what
just
monstrosity.
professionally. But
So sorry,
He's a
guys.
follower.
The third entry in Rupert's diary is quite long, and I forgot to give you that portion. There's also more after this that Keiko knows, but I'll go ahead and tell you that it says, Robert, however, rose to his feet, and before anyone could stop him, stepped forward as though to embrace our horrible guest. With its arms, or those appendages that seemed most like arms, it took hold of poor Robert and twisted his head around as though he was a doll. The lifeless corpse was then thrown back in Harold's lap, and that's when he began that damnable shrieking. The shrieking that hasn't stopped since, even after we handed him over to the sheriff's men. We still had a chance, apparently. Alan now believes that if we had kept our wits, we could have reversed the summoning and forced the creature back to wherever it came. But Crawford panicked and, mistakenly believing that it would dispel the creature, reached forward and destroyed part of the pentagram, breaking the seal and ending its effectiveness. Released from that binding symbol, the thing, with a screech that could only have been unholy satisfaction, was ejected from the house, disappearing out the window as a roaring, screaming wind of boiling colors.
Obviously, they threw some form of hallucinogen into the fire, and it's messing with everybody.
But you saw what happened to Robert.
I saw nothing.
For what it's worth, Rupert is an old-timey version of the name Robert, so...
Ah,
Wait.
still gonna get it wrong. Sorry.
I thought the creature was
So we're going to
contained
this-
within the house.
It was until the last death of the summoners.
Well, no,
That
he may
is-
still be in the house. Out of character. May still be in the house. We don't know.
We quite literally just read a diary entry stating it fled out the window.
I don't know if that means it can like
Well,
mess with stuff outside the house necessarily.
yeah, because it connects. Because it didn't.
I think we
It-
would have heard about a series
it-
of
We're
If-
talking about some
if-
hallucinogens.
If we believe it
Yeah.
to be true, it has not done any harm from our understanding besides this one fatality, correct?
Playing it in
and
non-believers hard.
driving a man insane, maybe.
I'm fairly certain that Marion Allen was killed in something relating to this as well.
We don't have any proof of not, but the strange symbols they keep talking about, we would need to see them to see what they were.
We must go to the
also-
house.
I would also believe that Rupert's death in such an unusual manner of an unknown disease to not be natural.
That modern medicine could not even determine.
If we were at the San Francisco hospital, I'd have my brother Hugo look at it. But we're here in Arkham. I don't trust them.
He's also
They probably don't know what they're doing.
he's also passed away, so looking at him kind of helpful.
So in my mind, just so you guys know, it's been Keiko that's been reading this and like explaining to you guys what's been happening. Not everybody
Oh,
like
for sure.
pouring over the journal.
That's why I've been kind of reading it in like character when things are weird. I'm just like, what? Stop.
For sure. I feel
Uh,
like we've been at this library a really long time. Are people going to do anything with Armitage?
have
No
no-
one
No,
wants
I'm
me to
done.
break his.
I would
so
like to
no.
go speak to him quickly before we leave. Kaiko, you may start the car so it is ready to.
Quick
I shall.
question. Quick question.
Yeah.
Should we go to the hospital after we are done with Armitage to see if we can get a mortician onto Roberts?
I'd have a pretty good inclination that it's not going to be helpful.
But it would still eliminate some of the issues
If
we're
you
having.
wish to encounter
was the
his
kid's
son
name again?
you may. Bertrand.
Bertrand.
Definitely don't want to talk to that kid again.
Yeah, talking to Bertrand sucks. So, then I'm gonna say that you guys should probably like have a base of operations, find a hotel, go to someone's house because it's getting kind
I
of
have
late.
an office.
Yeah, well, are you gonna stay the night here? Because I feel like do you want to go to the house at
wouldn't be
night?
the
It's starting to
first
get
time.
evening.
Wouldn't be the first time I've fallen asleep in a library.
No, we could probably honestly just like split up for the evening and then meet up in the morning.
That makes sense.
I take the journal with me.
I
Mhm.
like you guys, but
Not
we're
that
not gonna have a
much.
sleepover.
I have the key with me still, correct?
Yeah.
Cool.
I
Do we
also
know
would like-
that you stole those papers?
I don't.
I dropped
look.
them off. No one knows.
Yeah, he left 'em.
except
Okay.
Nevada, who saw me took them and then just hasn't checked in.
Under the bus. You immediately went under the bus with the graded papers. I was like, nothing to do with me at
I
this
mean, that's
point.
completely fair.
I'd like to, Wentworth, may I take the medical documents to contact my brother in regards to tonight?
The medical documents, meaning the police report and the medical examiner's report,
Yes, please.
I suppose.
Thank you.
What would your brother be able to do with them?
He's a doctor at the San Francisco hospital. I'd like to see if maybe he can reach out to some of his medical contacts and get me more info from there, possibly photos or anything. It makes no sense what kind of animal would do this. And obviously, they were either super piped up on hallucinetics and drugs, or there was some animal in there that reacted to them being in this abandoned house.
Perhaps I
People
should
can
read the
murder
medical
people.
report for you.
That's a wild concept, but people can murder people.
Oh, we haven't actually read it yet, have we?
I've read it. I don't know if you've read the medical
I
report
have.
here.
I have.
Let's read the medical report.
Hey.
Office of the Medical Examiner for State of Louisiana, City of New Orleans. Report by Dr. Wilbur Lawrence. The victim, Marion Marcus Allen, has been killed by a single powerful blade thrust to the bottom of the rib cage, cutting upwards so as to separate the ribs from the breastbone. Sorry. This looks like an H.
Mhm.
Hands were then used to pry the victim's rib cage apart. The tongue was cut out, luckily while the victim was dying. There was a symbol of unknown origin carved into the skin of the forehead. The cuts were deep enough so that the symbol was etched into the skull. The victim's liver and heart were missing. Both organs were removed by a sharp blade, although the procedure was crude. Police corroborate that no evidence of the missing organs was found at the scene. Abrasions and bruises to the wrists and legs indicate that the victim was tied up and beaten before death. So,
That's a
Kaiko,
person.
if you think this sounds like an animal, then
My
I don't trust your
apologies.
brother.
I like the reasoning that he must be stupid by association. If Kaiko thinks that it's an animal, the doctor brother definitely thinks it's an animal too.
No, I definitely want to ask my brother about that one. But with the animal, I'm more referring to the events of March 20th, 1877. I want to see if maybe he can find anything on the body of Harold and or what was the other person's name? Crawford.
You mean from the instant 30 years ago?
Across
Yes.
the country.
Yes.
You know, you would probably be more apt to find the records here yourself than calling someone on the other side of the country and asking him to call the very hospital you could go and at.
Which we can get.
I am not a doctor, but my brother, he's got some weight that I may have him to at least put in a good word for me to get that. And I'd rather do that before we have another incident like today, where we
Does
just get
HIPAA
the
exist
runaround.
yet?
Very well.
What's the question?
Does HIPAA and protected health information exist yet?
Absolutely not.
Oh, we can just go then.
I mean, like, there's the general idea that, that specific document probably doesn't exist, but the idea of don't talk about this sort of thing with people who don't need to know is definitely probably a thing.
I would hope so.
But for the right amount of dollary dues, we do need to know.
Right? Yeah, that's
Wait.
exactly the thing.
Quick question: can we all say our credit
HIPAA
ratings?
was so recent.
Oh yeah, does it feel bad? It should feel bad.
It feels bad how recent it was.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing.
96, man.
Yeah.
It's the end of the 90s.
That's the thing, though, is that patient-doctor confidentiality, like that idea absolutely existed long before HIPAA.
Yeah, but now it's legally binding.
Right, exactly. So we're asking,
As of
like,
the 90s.
Ooh, do you guys want to know something even more terrifying?
what's that?
So, you know artificial inseminations, right? Where, like, I am married to a wife, and the wife and I can't have kids, but I want her to have my sperm. Turns out doctors were just using their sperm.
I'm somehow not surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's
it's not illegal.
Like, I didn't know where this was going, and then it got there, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah,
Dude,
I'm
did
not
that in Days
surprised.
of Our Lives a couple times.
That's
So
creepy.
here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
What is our current plan? We're going to stay the night and then, like, reconvene?
I thought we were going to the hospital tonight, and then look at the moon suspiciously.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
somebody
I do
look at the
still wanna
moon.
look
It's
at the
probably
moon.
nighttime.
At this point, I need Keiko to make a sanity roll.
Oh, yay. Is there a button for sanity? Is it
Mhm.
that?
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's a hard success. Congratulations. You
Woo!
only lose 1 sanity as you're going through this this journal.
I'm
Nice.
back to neutral.
That's good.
The book has been unsettling to read, and the only thing that has kept it from being a problem on your mind is the fact that you're reading it in a lovely library.
Yay.
And probably don't believe half of it.
I do have my treasured possession on me, too. So there's that.
Well, with my treasure possessions, New York.
All right, so help me out. Wentworth, where are you going? What are you doing?
I wish to speak with Armitage before we leave.
Nevada, what are you doing?
I'm going home.
Lois?
Louis. I want to go to the hospital to see if I can get a more seized dead body.
Sure. Keiko?
basically.
I plan on going somewhere where I can relax and call my brother.
So home?
Sure.
People live around here? Great. Nevada, you're done for now. Wentworth is going to go talk to Armitage. You approach Armitage's office. It's not hard to find. The guards that were with him that you don't know about are not with him. So what are you looking for? You see him, and he's like packing up and getting ready to go. You notice that he is a phenomenally obese man.
I will rap lightly on the door.
Mhm.
I will not barge in. That would be.
I mean, you could see that the door was open. You tap on it as you approach the threshold.
Professor Armitage.
Hello, another visitor today. I am very popular. How can I help you?
I have come seeking information. Perhaps I've heard that you are a professor of folklore. I was hoping you would have the information that could help.
That could help with what?
I have this translation that I've never heard of anything of before from ancient Egyptian. It seems like some sort of poem or story. I was wondering if you might be able to give me some sort of source.
Some kind of source. Well, let me see. And I assume you hand him like a written translation of from
Yes.
the hieroglyphics. Seeker of wisdom, servant, which could be read as son of Yugur or Yoag, Sethet, deliverer of the people, which could also be read as slaves, deliverer of slaves of the water. I see. Bearer of the spirits of Nyarlatahotep, child of Thoth, seeker of wisdom. Where did you get this translation?
It was written on a sarcophagus.
Curious. Well, I am familiar with some of the, well, as you probably can tell, have an idea of what this means. But through folklore, I have an idea of some of the things here. Yugur, or Yoag, and Setheth were considered to be advisors of a pharaoh at some point, but there's never any real historical evidence of their existence, only stories of them. Deliverer of the people of the water. There are stories from all over the world about people who come from water, so I'm not surprised by this. And that you can read people as slaves is most interesting. If you take the most recent idea on how the pyramids were built and things like that. It could also just be that they didn't regard these people with any sense of actual humanity. Bearer of the spirits of Nyarlatahotep. I admit that this is a name that I am not familiar with. So I don't know much about that. Child of Thoth, seeker of wisdom. I'm assuming that that's just a wisdom personage within the folklore of Egyptology and Egyptian folklore, much like Odin having lost his eye, that sort of thing.
That would make sense.
I hope that helped. If you had any other additional questions.
Well, in my research on this translation, I came across the name of a book.
And what book is that? Hello? Did you cut out?
Sorry. No, I didn't put it in my notes.
De Vermi Mysteries.
Yeah,
the one you
the
need?
Vermi Mystery.
Who? Roll charm. It's been a bad day talking to Armitage.
One of these 4 people need to have something.
That's
Nope.
Oh.
that's a rough failure.
Yep.
You mentioned that book, and then he like puts his hand to his brow and lowers his head, and is like, "Oh my, I am done. Office hours are closed for the day. Sir, have a pleasant night."
Kick him.
Professor, I believe it is of vital importance that I be able to read this book.
You
At
can
the
open-
very least, may you tell me if you have ever heard of the Dust of Ibn Ghazi?
He like looks like he's weighing his options, and goes, yes, but it's usually part of some kind of myth, and it's used to reveal things. It's always just used as a seeing apparatus. It's a metaphor.
I believe that the book may have information on where I could. A way to make this dust. And I believe it would be very important.
I have read the book, and I wish I hadn't, and it does not. Have a good night. And he leaves. He makes the exit, and he makes sure that he closes his door.
But then there's a rock right next to the door.
Have a wonderful night, Professor.
Keiko is going home and trying to contact her brother.
Yeah.
Ring, 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 ring. They are 3-4 hours behind.
Three.
So 3. It's 3 hours behind. So you can probably get a hold of him. And you reach your
Cool.
brother. Hello.
Hey Hugo, got a weird thing for you. I need some help here getting a hold of some medical information for
Sure.
a science project of an old dead friend of mine. Can you help me out?
That's a very interesting way to start this conversation. How can I help you, sis?
So, an old friend of mine used to always argue about, you know how these people always say that there's these weird cult things?
Sure.
So he loves these things. We used to go on and on about them. And literally on his deathbed, he says we have to solve this issue. And for the sake of his soul, I need to prove that it's not some occult nonsense, but I need medical records.
On the sake of his soul, you want to prove that the soul isn't a thing. With the occult
No,
nonsense.
yeah, that the occult nonsense is a thing.
So how do I help? What do you need me for?
So I have to get medical information on a case about 30 years ago. And it's from the local hospital here, but we both know they won't talk to me. So maybe if I can have you maybe give them a call and say, hey, let me get this info for this case, that'd be great.
Roll luck.
Cool. Let me open that page. Where's luck?
It's at the top.
Hard success.
What?
Wow.
I actually know how to pass something.
The
Uh,
luck roll too.
He's reluctant, but he eventually goes, yeah, okay. And then he remembers, like, in your past that he owes you something. Some, like, probably sibling dispute. Like, okay,
Sure.
but we're even now. I'll call the hospital. They're probably busy, so swing by there tomorrow morning. And I can't promise the hospital will help, but I can promise that I'll at least try.
That's all I can ask. Thank you, brother.
And Lois is trying to go to the hospital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I'm there.
Mhm.
Awesome. So Lois goes into the hospital and I don't know how I want to approach this.
Gingerly.
Well, let me know. Thank you so much, all Ricky Bobby. I appreciate that. No, I spent a lot of time working on these.
It is very impressive. I love it so far. Ah.
You,
So
I got to you last.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Sorry. So I go up. I'm actually gonna. Can I use track at all in the hospital or no?
Tracking
Or
is
it's
for like,
outdoorsy.
yeah.
Okay, I just want to double check. Um,
Stop asking and tell
I
me
know.
what you're doing.
Lois is gonna just go downstairs, go to an elevator or stairs, and try to find the morgue.
Just walk in and act like you know the place.
Yes, even though I clearly do not.
Lovely.
I like Lois's optimism.
Yeah. Like, what role is that? It's not a. It's not a disguise.
I don't see walking with purpose on the skill list.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
mechanical repair. I have a 17 that.
charisma, power, education, intelligence, constitution. No, appearance. I want you to roll on
Yeah,
appearance.
it'd be appearance or credit, I think.
Yeah, you can roll. You can roll on whichever one is higher for you.
They're both 40. Let's do appearance. I feel like that's more apt.
Hey.
Hey. Hey.
What? An extreme
Hey.
success. All right, so you walk in. You've like changed your clothes or something,
Sure.
and you walk in, and people don't recognize you, and you go straight to the stairs to go down into the basement, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, she totally works here."
Mm-hmm. So
She is walking with such purpose. I don't have the
Purpose?
the courage to say anything.
Like
she has one clipboard that's selling.
she doesn't have the clipboard. That was my thing. It's like, take your hand and act like you're cradling a baby. That's where the clipboard you would have goes. And you walk in and you make it downstairs into the basement. Perfect.
Awesome.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for either a report of the autopsy of Rupert or
Rupert?
his what is it? Sorry,
Rupert?
Rupert.
Mhm.
The autopsy of Rupert or the body itself.
With this extreme success, which is going to end at the end of this, you make it into the morgue and you find his body. It's on one of the tables. They probably have a name, but you know, it's where dead people get placed.
Plaque, not a plaque. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, there also was a Robert that died.
Yeah.
Just so we can keep that clear. Both of them are people.
And they are both dead.
They're both dead. One of them had his head turned around.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a doll.
Yeah, but he's wait. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that the thing wasn't him. Okay. I hate this.
So you
Whoever
find the
wrote
body
this-
and you can
Yes,
tell
sorry.
that the mortician is nearby. Like he just went to his office and he'll presumably be right here. What do you do
Okay.
here?
I'm going to do a once over and just look at the body compared to how it was when I saw him alive, and then just wait for the coroner to come back.
Sure. So you lift up the cloth and you see him and it looks very similar. It's not like he looks drastically different than he did. It's just that he looks really bad. Can you roll sanity for me, please?
Oh yeah, I would love to. Hey.
Great. You only lose one sanity as you lift it up and you realize, remember how there was a wetness to his sheets?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't from sweat and it wasn't from like peeing himself. It's that he has these lesions on his skin that has started to bleed through, and it's a black substance seeping out of his skin that's mixed with pus.
I grabbed my cross, by the way.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, it's super gross. And then the mortician comes around, looks at you and goes, "Who are you?"
I'm sorry. I
Who are you?
wandered my way down here, and I was a friend of Rupert, and I just didn't get to say a proper goodbye, and I just wanted to. Do you know what caused his death, by any chance?
No.
I,
The hospital had been trying for weeks. No one knows what caused this, and I'm sorry to say, but he died earlier this afternoon. You shouldn't be down here.
I'm sorry. I'll. It's like a single tear goes down Lewis's face. and
A single tear kind of person.
Yeah. And
Pus
she
lesions.
starts. She, uh, before I go, I just wanted to make sure that there's nothing left that was meant for me. Did he have any other belongings that he didn't want his child or spouse to have?
That sounds like a question for his executor.
Do you know where his executor is at?
Executive
it,
Ray.
and like at that point, like he looks at his like white gown and scalpel. I think you can be better helped upstairs in reception.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Are you-
Small bit of shame.
Are you good here?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, that is that night. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back. We normally end in about 45 minutes, but I think we're on a roll. How are we feeling, guys?
I'm good.
Pretty good.
Good.
Excellent. We're gonna take a 10-minute break. And I see that all Ricky Bobby is here, who has followed. Thank you very much. I typed iSanity so you can see the audience participation and also the retweet counter. Take a chance to acquaint yourself with that stuff. 10-minute break, and we'll be right back, and we're going to keep playing. Thank you very much, and we'll talk
Awesome.
to you soon.
Bye.
You ready?
All right, and we're back. Let's see.
Hi, all.
We have 6 viewers, which is
Hello.
super encouraging, because that means not only did they stay for the 10-minute break, but they lived through my ad break too. Good job, guys.
Ooh.
A couple things to remind the audience who's watching now that my camera's all messed up and annoying. Go ahead and go to my Twitter if you like and retweet. You'll notice that we have 4 out of 5 retweets. When we hit 5 retweets, then someone is going to suffer a minor bout of madness. Anybody who wishes to type in !sanity will get the rules and the way that there's audience participation in the stream. Unfortunately, no one right now is marked with failure.
Yay.
We'll get to that, I hope, and I'm sure. All right, so where did we leave off? Like the night everyone's done, we turned in, we're getting ready for the
Now
next
the
day?
heading-
morning.
I think we're heading to the house the next day.
It's July 4th. July 4th, 1919.
Something special.
Sorry.
So what I'm going to do is give you guys these, and you'll Keiko will know that she's still not done going through this journal, but there are 2 more entries that she was able to digest on their way to the house.
On this day, Ramona and Bologna had food riots. Anyway.
Alright.
Let's see. Well,
It's early in the
that's
morning,
part
so
6. There's part 5. So let's see. March 24th, 1877. Alan intends to leave Arkham and travel to find a solution to this crisis. He said that he intends to seek out occult scholars in New Orleans. I pray he is successful, but my hopes are not high at this point. He insisted that I be custodian of the gold sarcophagus and not show it to anyone. What's even more odd is that he instructed me to not visit or even live in Boston. I can only guess as to why, as he will not tell me his reasoning, apart from his insistence that it is for my own safety. Marion still thinks that the thing could yet be destroyed, or at least dispelled.
That was my bad.
But
guys.
none of us...
Sorry, I pushed a button. Please continue.
Okay. But none of us who remain have the stomach for such an undertaking. I hope he can find a way to safely banish it without another of us falling to its malevolent grip. What are these people? Get off the hallucinogens, man. The 70s were a crazy time. March 26th, 1877. We now believe that the spell we cast to summon an inextricably bound the thing to the house. Alan went back this morning to retrieve some of our belongings and store our ritual accoutrements. He says that he heard it bumping around in the attic over his head, cursing him all the while. Probably just in trouble. He said it also told him that it was only has to wait us out. When we who were present are all dead, it will roam the earth freely, slaughtering and feasting. Thankfully, the warding signs carved by Alan during better times, times that seem so long ago now, apparently are effective and bar the thing in entry except into the attic of the house. I might be able to sleep a few hours tonight, knowing it's bound to the attic and cannot harm anyone else. I am hopeful for the first time since we stupidly released it from the amber. If I told him the truth, then we have time to seek the answer. God be with you in your search, my friend. So, question, Croy.
Yep.
So, I don't know if it changes for us in the handouts, but has the handwriting changed at all in the diary?
No.
Okay.
Rupert did
No
not go
change in
insane.
hand. Okay. I just wasn't sure if it's like steadily getting worse
Nope.
or anything throughout the diary.
So everyone, I'm
I
a
think
big
they do those things in the handouts, though.
Yeah, when there's
Is it important?
pictures, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Or I will make note of that when that is relevant and important.
Okay, I just wanted to check.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
I was gonna say this has happened 3 other times based off of what this note says. Am I wrong to think that?
Potentially, there's talk of 4 of these things. They probably just smoked the other 3 and forgot about it. But
I mean-
something in Massachusetts.
Buddy, I don't know what
Boston.
kind of amber you've been smoking, but it doesn't exactly just light up.
It doesn't cause 2 people to be dead.
Kaiko, may I,
I
ask
mean,
a
you
question?
burn something, it could make you dead.
When is the next new moon?
I consulted my farmer's almanac overnight.
Yeah, you sure did. It came straight from Ben Frank.
Wow, he can see the future that far.
That's the whole point of the almanac. I
Oh.
really like referring to historical figures as like nicknames. Like my buddy
Mhm.
Alex. You know, you might know him as the Great.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Of
the Alex.
Macedonia.
So the next new moon is in a couple days.
Oh, okay.
Let's say 3.
Okay.
We can Google this answer.
Sure. So we're in the car and we're headed to the house, or at least nearby.
Are there stones nearby?
We might as well get this.
It is July 3rd.
4th.
It's July
It's part-
4th.
July
when you
4th.
sleep, days.
We just had the new moon days.
Right. In my fictional world with crazy
Yeah, yeah.
monsters,
Yeah,
it's in 3 days.
got
Love
it.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
Cthulhu just showed up and pushed the moon a little bit one of these
Just-
times.
just
and it's
turned
a
it.
slightly different
I
cycle.
mean, he's just chilling. He's got to do something.
So we're on our way to the house, guys.
Yes.
Okay. On the way.
Bring some
Did I-
sort of weapons.
If we can stop by the... I have my hockey stick.
I got a
Uh,
gun.
I'd
You're
like
done
to
this whole
stop
time?
by the hospital on the way if we can.
Sure.
I had my brother contact them and
Oh, yeah,
let
yeah,
them know that we have information together.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Kaiko, what in the world does your sports equipment have to do with protecting ourselves?
There is an animal in the attic. I am convinced.
That has been
animal
there
that
for the
can wield
past 40
penknives.
years.
And its children. It has grown.
So you head to the hospital?
Yes. On the way there, I want to just describe what happened when I went there the last night.
You tell them that.
Yes.
Do you need
You
me
made
to
it
roll
all the way to the
biology to
morgue?
know just how ridiculous that is?
I mean, he was there. No, you don't. Your biology is pretty high. You can just realize that that's messed up. It's like he
I
was
wouldn't
rotting.
know of any diseases or anything that would cause.
So you're asking instead, you want to roll to see if you can identify what happened?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
There's
roll.
a medicine skill.
You can roll either
isn't there?
medicine or biology. I'm actually happy with either in this case.
I would prefer biology because one's a 70, the other's a 1.
Do the one. Do the one. Do the.
Get an extreme on the 1, I dare you.
I did.
I can't not take the dare now, Croy. Nope.
Hmm.
Well, you'd
Roll-
have failed either way.
That's true. You would have failed either way. No, your biology's
Fair
an
enough.
80, right? Or is it 70?
70.
Yeah.
Oh.
You, like everyone else who treated him, have absolutely no idea what was afflicting him. And you, even less so, because you spent no time with him, unlike the doctors.
Fair enough.
So we arrive. Students, yeah. First year medical
Not just
students.
in general, students.
You arrive at the hospital, and I assume Keiko is going to go in.
Yes.
Goes to reception. They look at you. Hello, how can I help you?
What is my last name? Hello, my name is Keiko Kane. My brother Hugo reached out last night to let you know I'm investigating a case to help a friend who just passed, and I need some information on a previous patient here that was here a few decades ago. If I can get my hands on it. Please.
And what patient?
Pulls out little notepad that I've been writing names down, so I don't always have to reference this journal. What was their name? Was Al?
Marion Allen?
No, I mean I want to know about that one too, but specifically I want to start with it would be either Harold or Robert, and I
Robert's
don't
the
have.
one that died.
Yeah. Robert
Harold
died of a
would
snack
be
attack.
in-
Harold would be
Harold-
not here. He would be in an insane asylum.
Well, he's dead though, right?
No, Robert's neck was
every-
broken in the fall.
You can surmise that everyone else is dead because that's what Rupert told you, but you don't know how Harold died. You know that Robert died in an altercation with this animal that lives in the attic.
Nevada's
So
just in the car, like, do you ever
we don't
think
know
that
anything about
Keiko's-
Cecil yet. We don't know anything about Crawford yet.
I'm just gonna say.
You guys ever think that Keiko's
Robert
explanations are wilder
Robert
than
and Harold.
magic?
Yeah.
Often.
So we did speak to your brother, and we don't have any additional information on Robert and Harold. There was a fire in our hospital a couple years ago, and most of our medical records are gone. However, we do have something that was left over from someone who is loosely attached to this. It was, I don't know how we have this. I rolled something fun for this, and I only have this to give you. It was part of some medical records that were left over, and it doesn't belong to either Robert or Harold, maybe a friend of theirs, and I don't know how we got it.
Ooh, may I see it, please?
Sure, it's just a photograph of this. Gruesome and awful, but that's all I got for you.
This
Neat.
answers question.
Is that on the?
Forehead.
Is that a hairy chest?
That's the forehead.
That's a forehead.
What?
Oh, is that a forehead?
Yep, it's tilted.
That's
Oh, yeah, you're seeing eyebrows on the right and hairline on the
Oh,
left.
okay, I see it. I see it.
how
Okay.
did you get chest?
Like I just imagined it was the part right here, and it's just hair and hair because they were unkempt back in the day.
I mean, people are tearing people apart. I can definitely see somebody does something weird to somebody's anatomy.
Fair.
But anyway, this is what you
That's
get.
definitely a gruesomely carved sigil in someone's forehead.
Does it match any of the hieroglyphics on the sarcophagus, both inside or out?
So you're done in the hospital here, and you're gonna go back to the car where presumably everybody has all their things.
Yes.
You
I got what I needed.
You make it back to the car. They say, "Thank you, come again." Some version of "Please don't get hurt." And you look at the box and see that no, this is not matching any of those.
I ask if Nevada has ever seen this type of symbol.
Archaeology?
Have I ever seen this type of symbol? Sure.
Yeah, give me an archaeology.
Why not? Ooh,
Hey.
I'm very good at archaeology.
You have not seen this symbol specifically, but you are a little frustrated at how similar it is to other symbols. And it's kind of like, you know how in English there are words and there are root words?
Yep.
You can look at this and you can kind of see parts of this symbol that exist in other symbols across time, across the planet.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like some kind of mix-up, mashup of some other stuff, but
A copycat cult.
a copycat cult. Yeah, it looks like somebody tried to write an ancient Aramaic when they only know modern Aramaic. Aramaic.
The fools.
Insert some like plausible bullshit. Modern Aramaic isn't a thing, I don't think.
I wonder if there was any old, not quite cults, but rituals that would involve this back
But
in the day.
what are you talking about? They're animals. We just gotta go and kill the animals.
There is no. I can't. I can't say an animal has ever done something so precise as this. As much as I'd like to say,
I'm
there's probably
happy.
some depraved man that did.
I'm very happy believing that Keiko has a hard time believing that these magics are real, but like at some point I feel like Keiko should realize that people are doing things.
I mean, I have.
Sure,
That's
okay.
why I keep saying hallucinogens.
That makes sense.
And burning these random ambers for weird effects.
I believe it may have to do with this Dark Brotherhood.
They did say they threw some weird powder into the fire that smelled weird.
They did say that.
So, like,
I
who
think
knows
it was
what kind of
evil
shrooms they were on?
smelling?
All
I
right.
don't know what evil smells like. Does anybody know?
And
Anybody
we
got
are
a
Nope.
Yankee Candle on that one.
And we're on our way?
Yeah,
Yep,
we're
on the house, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
We're going on our way to the house. The house is in a very rural part of Massachusetts, outside of Arkham, and near it is a couple crossroads. So you don't go directly to the house. You kind of go to like BFE, just like
Yeah.
out there, just in the middle of nowhere. And there's and you find yourself approaching after about an hour's worth of drive, a corner store that seems to be like the central hub of near where this house will be. Along the way, Keiko will be able to digest the second to last thing in the journal, and she will take a point of Cthulhu mythos.
Ooh.
Yeah! I'm doing it, guys. Is this how you play the game?
You learn things.
Yeah.
Where is Cthulhu Mythos? That'd be under C. I am at
That's
1
right,
now.
credit. Yeah,
Fun thing about
maximum sanity.
Yep, so Cthulhu mythos reduces your overall maximum sanity.
Do I have to change it somewhere else? Oh, no,
Nope.
I already did
It
it.
should do it automatically.
So,
The
October
sheet
14th,
knows.
1877. I just discovered that Marion Allen is dead and has been dead for some months now. He was murdered in New Orleans in the past August. I suspect that he spoke to the wrong sort of people about the things he has seen and they killed him. The newspaper mentions the sarcophagus, so they may have been after the gold. That is 3 of us gone now. I must do something. I've already begun ancient history classes at university, so I believe I will try to research the problem at the farmhouse in that manner. Perhaps I will uncover an ancient secret of how to rid our world of that beast in my own way. And it looks like it has a sticky note on it, or a drawing.
Yep, that's going to be part of the next one,
Oh, okay.
which we'll get to at a timely convenience of my own.
Fair enough.
I like that phrase.
So you reach what's called Ross's Corners. This is the block, the square, the corner that's near the house. There's a couple rundown looking buildings that are around here,
So there's still a Cecil and
and there is like a corner store. It's not a whole lot, like a post office that's mostly just like someone's house has an addition attached to it. And you've reached Ross's Corners. You can continue on your way to the house, but what would you guys like to do?
Real quick, who was the one that's in the insane asylum?
That was
Harold.
Harold. He's dead.
Yeah, Harold died at the scene. He never went to the insane asylum.
No,
it was
Harold
Robert.
went to Robert died at the scene.
And Rupert died yesterday.
Mhm.
But not today.
Everyone in the journal is dead. That's why we're
Cecil
in this
we know
issue.
nothing about.
No,
Cecil and Crawford
it's
we don't know
assumed that
anything
he's dead.
Rupert told us they were all dead.
Yeah, this wouldn't be our problem if others were still alive.
When he said, "I'm the last one alive," what he secretly meant was that he's the last one alive. Now
But
he's dead.
What if he lies to us, Rob?
That's true. He could have lied to you, but then that's a very strange game.
So we don't know how
That's
they
a bad
died,
way
though.
to start a
Okay.
scenario. It's like a completely false premise.
So I'm just trying to keep track of how everyone died.
Well, they're all dead.
The missing
Yeah.
thing, and it's making me
I
annoyed.
doubt
You will
half
so-
of those are in the module.
you will
sorry.
never have all of the information in Call of Cthulhu.
It's
Oh.
killing me, Croy. I need
If you
it.
did, you'd die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
that's how you play cultists, John.
Don't you see how I'm trying to get my Cthulhu stuff? I need to know.
you just learned about that stat now.
And he's already in love with it.
That's a bad thing to
Can
be
I
in
go
love
to the
with.
convenience store and ask where
Yes,
we
you can go into the convenience store.
It's very convenient that we happen to stop here.
are? Yes.
It's true. You walk into the convenience store. This is it's more like a general store. Don't think of it as a convenience store because that makes you think of like 7-Eleven. This is like someone has a large addition to their house, much like the post office, except this has got like shelves of just like a few items. Next to the door is one of those newspaper wireframe racks. The daily newspapers have just been brought in. And behind the counter, you see a woman.
Good morning.
She looks at you. She is wearing an apron. She's a little bit on the big side, and she's got her hair tied back in a bun. And she just kind of like looks at you. At this point, you realize that you have seen a few other people milling about town, and they are just kind of like eyeing your car and looking at you suspiciously. And she looks at you and goes, "Well, you're not from around here. How can I help you?"
Two things. I would like to buy a newspaper, and actually three. I'm quite sorry. Second, where are we according to state lines? My friend, we got a bit confused, and I was just curious of where we are state-wise. And have you heard any weird rumors as of late?
That's a
Or like,
pretty forward thing to ask, I suppose. Well,
well, first,
you're in
how's-
Massachusetts, just outside Arkham. This is our own little place called Ross's Corners. The paper's just a couple cents. And are there any rumors going around? First, I guess I'm curious why you're looking for rumors.
Well, my friends back from college said there was this weird like haunted area with like raccoons in the attic, and they were like, "Hey, I give you like $50, or no, equivalent of $50 task, a dollar."
Like $3.
Yeah, like $3 to go clear out the house. I was trying to figure out where it was, and they said sounds spooky, so just ask for the spooky house if you
Give
got
me
lost.
a fast talk.
Damn. F. Oh, that's actually not my bad stat. Green? Yeah.
Oh,
On the dot.
that's
Success.
impressively equal.
Yes.
All right. Well, we did manage to get our retweet, and now I need to roll a die, and then one of our players will be marked with looming failure. The next time they lose at a sanity check, they'll suffer a minor bout of madness.
Yay, everyone.
Thanks so much for doing that, guys. Yes, you guys do get to know. I won't do
Okay.
that. So let's find out.
Oh.
As a GM, I get to roll it, and it is 1, 2, 3. Lois.
Yay!
Oh, great.
I'm excited.
Lois is marked with looming failure. So as you're saying
I got a
this,
symbol.
as you're saying, it's the other way.
Damn it!
Yeah, there it is. Hold on.
Oh, that's
Over there.
amazing.
There it is. It's down there. As you're talking to Ma. Oh, she introduces herself as Ma Peters. As you're talking to her, and you're trying to fast talk her, be like, "Look, man, I'm supposed to go clean up this thing or whatever, trying to do a favor for somebody." You realize that she doesn't believe you. Like,
Oh.
absolutely not. But also that she's willing to help you. And as you get that feeling and you pay her for the newspaper, you grab it and you realize that this newspaper is going to be important. And you don't know why yet, but you can feel that. You ever do that thing where you just like realize, like, you think about the last time you've ever been in a place, and did you ever consider that?
Once in a while.
So you hold that newspaper, and she looks and she goes, "Well, there are a couple rumors, but that's probably why people are giving you strange glances. There's one of our young ladies went out looking for some horses that got out yesterday, and she ain't been found yet, so that might be why people are looking at you funny."
That's fair.
Now, if you're trying to go up to that house, I can tell you that house ain't good for no one, and you shouldn't go to that house, mostly because there's nothing there.
But yeah. Okay.
What's everybody else doing?
I would
Does the
sit in
convenience store
car.
have a gas station?
Sure.
I'll offer to pump it for him because he's been doing all the driving. I've kind
Mhm.
of just been sitting back here reading.
Nerd.
Sure. You
Very
start
well.
pumping.
The science student is a nerd. Never would have guessed.
I'm going to see if I can, like, people are looking at us funny. I imagine some of them are whispering things about us. I want to see if I can kind of overhear some of
Yeah, sure. Give me a listen.
Nice.
That's not a fumble though. That's just
What a
really
good
bad.
high roll.
Yeah, wrong game.
Any percentile game wants you to roll high. If they did, that'd be weird.
So your
It's very weird to me as someone who's never played a percentile game.
so it looks like most people are getting out of the car, right? Like Lois goes in and Wentworth is gonna like mill about, just kind of like look around, see,
Nevada's just chilling. I don't really have any specific
just like hanging out in the car,
goals
looking
at
around.
this-
Go buy a
Yeah, I mean,
sarsaparilla.
I might go buy like a pack of cigarettes.
Sure.
What do you buy? What do you buy in the 19?
In the 1919s.
The
Yeah, almost the
19s
20s.
plural
Of
because there's
loaves
two
of
them.
bread.
You can hear that they're talking about you, and they say things like, "Who are these people? Do they have anything to do with Maggie?" But one of them approaches you, right? And he's like a big guy. He walks straight up to Wentworth. And how is Wentworth dressed? Can you go ahead and give me an appearance roll?
I can do that, but he does literally have a description as part of his back, like his what he wears. But I can give. Well, what would appearance be?
APP.
Yeah, it's at the
One of your
top
basic stats.
characteristics.
Ah,
It's
okay.
literally how you look.
No, you don't look that good.
You don't look that good. So
or you look too good.
Yeah,
That could
that's-
also be an issue.
that's the issue,
I
right?
think it's probably too good.
So like
I
you
wear a monocle. Thank you.
Oh,
You do.
my.
so he's got like overalls on and that farmer. He's got a farmer's tan and he comes up to you and he looks at you and goes like, we don't need or want people like you around. What are you doing here? It is best if you get in that car and turn yourselves around.
My good sir, I assure you we mean no harm. We are simply here to deal with the estate of someone who has passed away.
Ain't no one died here. Unless. And then he like rolls his shoulders and he kind of like steps into you. What you know about Maggie? Why are you talking about dead people?
Who the hell's
I-
Maggie?
He says from the car.
Yeah. I assure you, I know nothing of any Maggies who have passed away recently. My concern is with the nearby farmhouse.
What farmhouse? No, you don't mean the one up Boone Road. That place is haunted. You come up here talking about dead people, people passing away, and you're gonna talk about a haunted house, and then you're gonna tell me that you don't know about Maggie. He like looks
We own
over
the house.
at a couple friends, and they start to like get big and posture and coming up to you guys. I think it's time for you guys to turn around. Ross Corners don't need you here.
We own the house, though.
Why would you?
Keiko's
We
like
own the
pumping the
house.
gas, right? And she just like turns over, is like, but we own the house. And then like
Yeah, Nevada would get out of the car at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just gonna sit in it with like he's like just leaning against the roof. Like, is that right?
Yeah, I like it. Lois and Ma from inside the store are seeing like people starting to square off.
I have a
wanna
hockey
come out.
stick,
I have a gun.
but I have a Mine has unlimited ammo.
I really doubt you're just
I'm not waving the gun around.
I'm
like it's-
Gandalf.
yeah, you're not pumping gas with a hockey stick.
That's way too.
So
What are you here to judge our dear friend Kaiko on what she does with her hockey stick?
Yes. Yes, we are.
I go everywhere with my hockey.
I'm
When
just.
she's been reading the diary, when she needs to turn the page, she like licks her hockey stick and uses that to turn the page.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
So,
Lewis just looks like from the convenience store. He's like, I'm sorry.
so at this point, yeah, she looks at you and goes, "Oh, this again." And she comes around the corner and she comes out. The bell jingles as she slams open the door, and she's like, "Bobby, what are you doing? What are you doing to these people around here? You get out of here!" And he turns and looks at her, and it's like, "Would strangers come up in here right after the day Maggie goes missing, asks about a haunted house, and tells dead people are around? And I don't think that's a coincidence, Ma."
The dead people are in the morgue
One
at
second.
the hospital.
She disappeared yesterday?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
What time?
I don't know, around the time that her horses got out. Evening
What
such?
Horses just run
Where
off
was
out
the
here, is
sun
that-
at in the sky?
Evening?
All right, even.
Yeah, not
Died in the
not
evening.
evening. Evening.
He died in the evening.
Who died
It's
in
a
the evening?
coincidence.
Well, he died in the
Rupert.
early afternoon.
All right, now that we've said a name, I get to make a roll.
You said the magic word.
You said it.
The
Yeah,
cultists
we're
come
here
flooding out.
So then like Bobby, who obviously doesn't know much, and his two buddies, like you say Rupert, and they're like, "Who's that? We don't know no Rupert." And Ma like turns to look at you, and he's like, "Rupert? You mean that old guy has been holding on to that farmhouse for way longer than he should, who don't live there?"
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, good old Rupert.
What you say he died?
Yeah, he's dead.
Straight faced. He dead now.
Well, I'm sorry. Any idea what's gonna happen to the property? Bobby and his
No.
buddies are now just like, we don't really know how to handle this situation.
Yeah, it's ours now. We got to go investigate it.
Yeah, we're tidying things up. But after we're done, I have no particular stake in it. Do any of you?
I'm gonna turn it into an ice
An ice?
rink.
The Mighty Ducks.
So you're gonna, so you own it. So you inherited it from him, I guess. I mean, that's none of our business, but you got to understand.
It's a
Sort of.
strong.
Yes, he gave it to us.
We were entrusted with it, set upon a quest with it. Confusing.
Yeah, apparently there's something not right about it, and we're sort of trying to make that not be the truth.
Well, yeah.
There's some talk of. I got a journal here that talks about weird animal attacks that went on there, and I just got to figure it out.
Lewis is very confused with how any of these people survive.
Well, you can go up to the farmhouse. It's yours, you say. Either way, we'll go send somebody to town and talk to the magistrate and figure out what's going on. Going on with that house.
Where did Maggie live?
At her place.
A couple miles that way, and
Is
points
that
in a
up the
direction.
road towards the house, towards the farmhouse?
If the house is west, then he pointed like northwest.
So,
So
like,
kinda on the way?
not in the opposite direction.
Not in the opposite direction.
Okay.
How long of a ride away from the house?
This is farm country. Every house is
Yeah.
a couple miles apart.
Good, good old
How
country
many
block.
how many hours of good old horse chasing would it be from Maggie's place to the old abandoned
Don't insult the
farmhouse?
gentleman.
Bobby looks at him and is like, "Look, this is why I don't like learned folk, because I don't know what they're saying, but I can tell when they're saying something nasty."
I'd speak this way to learned folk as well, if that makes you feel any better.
Thanks, Ricky. So what is your question again? Say it again.
I just, is it like, could she be over there? We'll keep an eye out.
Well, mainly, I have a fear that the animals have found their way out of the attic, and now they're attacking nearby. That's what I think's going on. Especially with the horses getting out.
Well,
Sounds
horses
like
go
typical
out.
animal attacks.
Horses leave sometimes.
Are you very familiar with animal attacks, Keiko? Do you live out in the wilderness? You seem to know a lot.
All right.
Thinking about hallucinogenics as
I
well.
read a lot of books.
I think they're
Hmm.
happily disarmed.
Okay.
They are disarmed. They're not happy about you. One of them says something like, "Yeah, we'll send somebody to town to a magistrate, see if we can't get that house back part of our own community." They're really frustrated that it's owned by people outside of here, but they don't feel
for you.
they don't feel like they have more issues with you.
Okay, well, we'll go clean it out, and if we see, what does Maggie look like? If we see her, we'll point her back in the direction of town. Maybe she got lost.
Now, like 5'8", yeah, pretty thin, orange hair.
Orange hair. That's a good one. That's a defining characteristic. Okay, we'll keep an eye out.
You guys get in the car.
Yeah, I started reading the newspaper.
You start reading the newspaper, and
Yeah.
Keiko is gonna finish digesting the remaining portions of the diary, and we head down
Why?
towards the house.
Why is
Yeah, I'm
Keiko
gonna take
reading
some
it?
sanity probably. Let's do it.
Very
Didn't
good.
have to rough up any farm folk, so that's nice.
Today's already a win.
Yeah, no farm
We can,
fisticuffs.
we don't need to do anything but this farmhouse for one more day.
Yeah, if they want to go get it transferred.
All right, Alan, tell me what this
Yeah.
newspaper says.
Ooh, reading time. Cairo? Really? No. Am I
This
saying
is
that right?
this is from the New York. This is from the New Yorker.
No, I know. I'm trying. Oh, okay.
New York pillar.
Oh, okay. I'm not. Don't know the department. Sorry.
Sir Aubrey Penhew, temporary spokesman for the Carlisle expedition, indicated Thursday that the leaders are taking ship to East Africa for a well-earned rest. Sir Aubrey debunked rumors that the expedition had discovered clues to the legendary wealth of the lost mines of King Solomon, maintaining that the party was going on safari in respite from our sandy labors. Roger Carlyle, wealthy New York leader of the expedition, was unavailable for comment, still suffering from his recent sunstroke. Discussing that unfortunate incident, local experts declared Egypt entirely too hot for Anglo-Saxons at this time of the year and suggested that the young American had not been well served by his democratic enthusiasm, rumored to have been led to personally wield pick and shovel.
At the same time.
Too hot for the Anglo-Saxon. You white
Egypt.
people can't handle this kind of heat.
Nevada would know. Egypt is unpleasant. I'm sure he's been there at least once by
Ooh,
now.
this is from my diary. August 14th.
Oh, I was
1987.
mistaken. Yeah, there was a thing in here. Sorry, my bad.
Brutal murder at docks. In New Orleans, the body of Mr. Marion Allen, late of Arkham, Massachusetts, was discovered early this morning near the Gulf and Panama docks. A victim of foul play, the man was identified by local witnesses who said that Mr. Allen had been seen in the locale the evening before. Although robbery was the apparent motive, police report that the victim had gruesome marks carved into his forehead and his tongue had been cut out again. Mr. Allen had reportedly gone to the police earlier this week, claiming that he was being followed and that he feared for his life. He said his shadowy pursuers were after an Egyptian artifact, which he no longer possessed. Looks like Robert Mencken died March of 1877. Harold Copley died August 1877. Marion Allen died August of 1877. Hey, Crawford Harris died January of 1910 and for some reason is in red ink. Cecil Jones, March 1919, which looks like it's in green. And Rupert Merriweather, yet to die, died yesterday.
Yeah, they're all
Okay,
in
so there
different
you
colors.
have it. They're all dead.
I'm not sure
Are they?
what the different colors. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like red, yellow, blue, red, green, then back to yellow for some reason.
Okay. The first two kind of look the same color to me.
Yeah, the Robert's just in black ink.
Hmm.
That helps.
All right. We arrive
It's
at
not
the
August,
house. I liked how they said, The house is of 18th century saltbox design with a high peaked roof and windows flanked by sagging shutters. While most of the windows are broken, the ones still intact are filthy and resemble frosted glass due to years of dirt and dust. It's a single-story structure comprising 2 rooms with a windowless attic overhead. The roof is a little bowed, but all the shingles are intact. The whole place exudes a strange and unsettling atmosphere. There is no bird song in the trees, just the sound of the many branches swaying. It's as if the house has been waiting for you for many years. You find this house as you're driving down the road, and it's pretty easy to locate because the driveway to the house, the path to it, is marked by a tree that has been exploded by lightning strike. You turn down it and you approach the house, and you can see the tree line back in the distance. And as each of you exit the car and can see this house, you can see that there is what's left of strange markings on the outside of the house. And there's a well, and the tree line kind of surrounds the house. But where there used to be life, like in Ross's Corners and Birdsong, it is not here. It is dark, even in midday, and it is unnerving. I actually want to stop. I actually want to stop there today.
Sounds good.
Okay.
That's a good spot.
All
I'm
right.
excited for everything to go wrong.
Yeah. Now that we've gotten
This was
here,
the investigative part.
Uh,
The next part is the shit hits the fan part.
Get the hockey stick.
I know, I'm so excited. I want to hit a horror with my hockey stick so bad.
I mean, I have
This isn't
fists,
pulp.
so
That's
you're
not
more
gonna go well.
prepared than me.
yeah.
I didn't say it would go well. I just said I want to do it.
Hey, all Ricky Bobby, to answer your question, yeah, that prop is in Edge of Darkness. We are playing Edge of Darkness. I have a couple of handouts that I'm using as props for Masks of Nyarlatahotep to better connect it all. They met an important NPC earlier as well. All right, so something that I like to do in my games is we're going to take this moment, and I like to do a round robin type thing. And I like to say,
Whoop, sorry about that.
Ethan, who is playing Nevada Jones, what did he do
Hey.
that we liked that we didn't like? What did he do that we did like, and what did he do things that we didn't like? How did he make the game fun? What did he do that was really cool? And also, chat, please join in and tell us what our players did and that you'd like to see more of. So go ahead, guys. How did Ethan do? Resounding silence. I'll let you know.
It was that bad.
I really
I
like the way
like
you
your
handled the
character.
library.
Whoa,
Yep.
one at a time.
I will
Look, we
start because
replace
I'm the
resounding
peak.
silence with resounding everyone talking at once.
I'll go. I really like the way that you handled the library. It was a really interesting balance of I belong here, but also realizing that things are not quite right.
Mhm.
So that was done really, really well. Especially giving a player positions of power can also be not bad, but it can lead to issues, and I think you did it great.
Yeah, I'm relatively familiar with academia because that's what I do in real life. So I'm I know that I can be here, but I know that there are limits to what I can do.
Sure.
I'm not gonna push that because this is kind of like real life.
Mm-hmm. Anything else for Nevada, guys?
I really like the Indiana Jones stick. I was a bit worried you were gonna do it the whole time, but I think you did just enough to not wear out its welcome.
Yeah, that was my worry as well. Playing Nevada Jones, I was
Yeah,
gotta pump the brakes a little bit, but
exactly.
there's good parts of Indiana Jones's character.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
like him for a reason, so I'm gonna try to find that.
Sure.
Overall, I thought you did fine. I can't think of anything negative to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
This
Oh,
was really
good.
good. Especially because we had a weird first session in well, not even weird, it's just this is heavily investigative.
Yeah.
All right,
I like your beard.
how about Max, who played Wentworth Avebury? What did Max do that we liked?
I really enjoyed his character and I enjoyed his voice. I wish he was a bit more proactive and wasn't literally a butler to the group. That was a bit awkward every once in a while. Because I actually forgot he was in some scenes.
I thought that it was
So
very
yeah,
appropriate for
that's what I'm
Wentworth, though.
No, that's fair.
I actually really like
Like-
everything that Wentworth did. I just wanted to see more of him.
That's true.
I agree. Yeah.
The one thing I'll say to that, I've played enough RPGs where it's everybody talking over each other that I just hate it,
Yeah.
and so I try not to do
Sure.
it. And like, I'm not just gonna start talking over people in the middle of scenes, which in this case often led to waiting until somebody looked to see what I was doing because other people kept doing stuff.
Yeah.
Got it.
Anything else for Wentworth? I really liked how he was
wonderful.
portrayed. Yeah, it was actually really good.
Like every time Wentworth was like, "This is the thing that I can do well," and he executed it flawlessly. I loved it.
Ricky Bobby wants to let you know that Wentworth was the only one that stayed in character the whole time. So very proper.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, Alan, who played Lois, what did he do that we really liked and enjoyed?
I love Lois's optimism about things. Lois just does things with no plan.
Yeah, she's
Or
like,
not
I
some
need.
semblance of a plan. Lois is like, I'm gonna walk into the hospital, and then does it.
Yeah.
And then does it
Shit,
well.
nowhere.
That's how Lois do.
That was really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I honestly didn't know I was going to punish Lois for the whole paper thing with Armitage, but we never got to a good point of it. That's why I was talking to the guards. And if anything, any point somebody failed, I'm like, oh man, they're on you.
Yeah, that's fair.
that Nevada was definitely frustrated with Lois over that, but as a player, I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, right. Just like
Nevada was like, this could be a problem, but it's okay.
Well, Lois knew it wasn't like I had to do something because I was just upset with him, but I couldn't do anything super extreme. So
Yeah.
stealing papers, I guess.
the single tier. The single tier.
Single tier, yeah.
Yep. All right, and John, who is playing Keiko Kane, what did John do that we really liked?
Just Keiko's insistence that this all has a rational explanation to me is wonderful because it's almost more ridiculous than the magic explanation.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
weird. Like it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just strange that it goes from like, look at this game full of madness and terror, and this person insisting that it could all be rational, right? That's fine. But then she's like, no, there's a reason. And at some point we gotta back up and be like, nah, Keiko, you're the crazy one. This shit's
Yeah.
crazy.
I think it's like, to me, it came across as like Keiko believes in this, but she won't let herself. Like
That's
that
a
was
player
the
problem because
extent.
I believe to a point in it, and my character doesn't. So it's like I gotta play this off weirdly.
Like that's how it plays off. It plays as though like Keiko's like the occult's real, and I'm very scared, so I have to keep saying it's not real to make me feel.
I think
better.
that's part of why I'm friends with Rupert, or was friends with Rupert, is because even though he believed in it, and we argued a lot, that because I was on the opposite side, I kind of started to understand, but I didn't want to accept it because that was our dynamic.
No.
And then
The
lastly,
one
it was good.
downside I'll say is I just felt like you had too much of a fixation on the hockey thing. It just kept coming up for unrelated reasons.
I didn't know how I'd tie into being with him at first. And I was like, yeah, I know him from hockey was my thing because I love my stick. It's just so random that I have a hockey stick as
sometimes
Next
having
time,
a
last
random
time,
thing
but-
is really cool, and that's awesome. I like that those exist, but then finding realistic and plausible ways to use them.
yeah.
I like that if someone's going to go up against the Cthulhu mythos, that it's like hockey stick. That's the best thing to take with me.
Yeah, I definitely got a what's it called? Oh, there's a board game where you're trying to survive against a zombie horde, and it plays on like all the B movie tropes of just like this is the jock.
Last Night on
Yep,
Earth.
Last Night on Earth, and it's just like, oh, this is the jock with a hockey stick. Got it. I understand this entire character based on a thing that's not even a part of them, and that's not what Keiko did, but that's a thing to be aware of. I really liked the way that she also, not only because like I kind of put the diary on you because you said that you were reading it, but I also really appreciated that Keiko was like into the diary.
Yeah.
Oh, and you used your brother's resource. That was really clever.
Yes. Thank you, Ricky Bobby.
And for me,
And,
How did I do? What did people like? What did people not like?
It was, I mean, yeah, it was good.
Okay, that's good.
Everything.
My
I don't.
first
I don't
time
feel like
having
anything
Cthulhu,
was.
so it was
Yes, this is 2 players' first time playing Call of Cthulhu. One of them has played and run a couple things, and a couple has played in several.
Yeah, I think the thing that I look for in like a really good keeper for Call of Cthulhu is like, is it like plausible? Like, are difficult people like difficult enough, but not like overly so? And I felt like Armitage was the perfect example of like, I'm not gonna help you, and there's not really a way out of that because we failed, and so there were consequences, which I appreciated.
but we
Like
Right.
he
still
was
got
just
information.
frustrating enough. Like he was just frustrating enough.
Well, it's because you also
it to be,
know
like,
he
really-
has information.
Yeah.
I like that we even though we failed, you kind of gumshoot it in that we still got info. It just wasn't as useful as it could have been, but we still got something out.
I wanted
Yeah.
to say that like it felt like railroading at some points, but it was mostly us just not progressing the plot at all because we ran out of things to talk about and no one wanted.
Yeah,
to
when
push
we
the
sit
plot
there
forward.
for 3 minutes, I don't feel bad when I push people along.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
no.
think that
Yeah.
like the railroading is more like there's
You
No
have
you've
two
done all of these
options.
things, but all of your decisions inevitably lead to this one. Where this was
Yeah.
more like we're not doing anything, let's move it along. Which
Yeah,
is
no,
like,
I think
good.
that was helpful a lot.
Excellent. And then also, Ricky, I was reading as you saw your things out for the people. Thank you very much for coming by. This is something that I'm going to be running every Friday at from 8 to about 11 Eastern. And some of them might go a little bit long. For DM, I could add more creepiness to the mundane. I agree. That is a thing that I actually wanted. I was trying to figure out how to do that more specifically. So I'm glad that we're on the same page with that. I will definitely do that.
a lot of this stuff was like exceptionally mundane, though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's my bad.
other
I mean,
than-
it's a library and books.
I
Doesn't
mean, you
get
can-
more mundane.
And then, well, that's the
Well,
thing.
books can kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not the ones we were.
the
reading.
books in this game will kill you.
We could get to the book that would kill us.
Yeah, we couldn't get to the book.
And you're welcome. You're welcome that I did not let you get to the book that will kill you.
It would have killed Keiko because she would have not stopped reading.
That
just
is
wanna
how you
stay-
die in this game.
So, to better explain, I have 2 different groups that are playing in 2 different very introductory prologue events that lead up to Masks of Nyarlatahotep. Next week, we're going to pick up with the other group that is going to play and hopefully finish Genus Loci. The week after that, which will be, oh man, I have a calendar. I'm like a real streamer. The 17th is them, and then the 24th is when we're going to come back and probably finish Edge of Darkness.
Yay.
Will I
Woo.
still have this? If I point in the correct direction? Yes.
Yes, you're definitely going to still have that.
Damn. Okay.
Absolutely.
Can I get 2?
No, that's the last thing that I want to put on is that people cannot be marked for looming failure a second time until everyone else has had it.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I
Yeah.
dig it.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby, just so you also know, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday on more typical just like gaming and stuff like that, so just be aware of that. All right, that's going to be it for me, and that's going to be it for us. We're going to swap on over to our very fancy ending screen. Thank you for the compliments on the overlay. I worked really hard on
See
it.
you guys.
Have a good one, and I will definitely see you guys next Friday. Be well.